The following is an exclusive presentation of Jefferson Pilot Sports.
The Auburn Tigers are stalking the SEC as the streak has reached 18. There have been close calls, but always the big play. Like the 4th and 10 to Thomas Bailey at Florida to set up the clutch game-winning score. Patrick Nix finding Frank Sanders and the upset of the #1 team on the road. Terry Bowden has the wins. Now he wants respect for his team. Also on the move is Arkansas with 2 decisive SEC victories this month. Danny Ford tries to return the Razorbacks to their glory days. Hogs and Tigers next.
Jefferson Pilot Sports presents the best in college football, the Southeastern Conference. Today's Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week is brought to you by Lee Apparel, maker of regular, relaxed, and easy-fit jeans and casual pants. Lee is the brand that fits. By your Southeast Mercury dealers, who invite you to take a good look at a whole new mystique about the South. The new Mercury Mystique, on sale now. By CarQuest Auto Parts. For the CarQuest store nearest you, call 1-800-492-PART. By Burger King, home of Whopper values. Get your burger's worth at Burger King. And by Nationwide Insurance. Check the yellow pages for the Nationwide agent nearest you.
Welcome to Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. The Tigers have won 11 straight here and 13 straight in conference play. It's Arkansas visiting today from Fayetteville. And another big crowd on hand. War Eagle the cry once more. I'm Bob Carpenter with Dave Rowe. And the Razorback running backs come to town a little bit beat up, but they've got Oscar Malone, who leads the league in rushing average.
Well, Bob, he's had a bad ankle, but they say he's ready to play today. Danny Ford said his team has got to get off fast. They've got to play well, can't make mistakes, and they've got to control the football. If they want to control the football, it starts with Oscar Malone. Even with a bad ankle, he's ready to play. 6.6 yards per carry average.
And that makes the job of quarterback Barry Lunny a little bit easier, and that's good for the Razorbacks because this Auburn defensive front led by Mike Pelton has been awesome, rushing opposing QBs, and that's one of the reasons their secondary has all those interceptions.
Oh, and what a secondary this is. They use words like awesome, incredible, those type of words to describe this Auburn secondary. 26 turnovers in just 7 games. They have run 6 of them back for touchdowns.
And the only senior in that secondary is Chris Schelling, Brian Robinson, a junior, and he had a big day against the Gators in that victory 2 weeks ago. But the Razorbacks have a good defense as well. They have hog-tied their opponents this year, leading the SEC in total yards given up a game. Jordan-Hare Stadium, a great atmosphere for college football and an offense for the Tigers with this unbeaten team that's averaging 36 points a game. With that in mind, let's check in downstairs with Bob Kessling.
About 4 games ago, Auburn was down 23-9 here to LSU. They pulled their quarterback, Patrick Nix, and then Auburn's defense came along and pulled that game out. Since then, Terry Bowden decided to simplify the offense and go back to what Auburn does best.
The second game is when I really jumped out there and tried to do a lot of things that we weren't ready to do. And I found out we weren't quite ready for that. That cost us a ball game. After that, we went back and ran what Pat Nix, Terry Bowden, Auburn football has been running here for a year and a half and what I've run for years.
And that has really paid off. Patrick Nix, the last 2 games, over 300 yards passing. 6 of his 10 touchdown passes have come in the last 2 games. I'd expect Nix to come out throwing today.
And he's providing the same kind of leadership here that Stan White did, the 4-year starter. Auburn won the toss. They'll defer. Arkansas will receive the football, and Matt Hawkins is the man who will kick it off. Razorback Stadium with that Ice Bowl last year. Auburn won it by 10. They tied here 2 years ago. They previously met with Auburn winning in the 1984 Liberty Bowl. Madre Hill and Mike Higgins are the deep man for the Razorbacks. At the 5-yard line, it's the freshman running back, Madre Hill. He's got a good hole out to the 30. They'll give him 25 on the return. Joe Frazier smoked him down on special teams. And Barry Lunny leads out the multiple offense of the Razorbacks. They lost 5 starters. They haven't had that great a year offensively, but in 2 of their last 3 conference games, they've scored 42 against Vandy and 31 against Ole Miss, in between 3 touchdowns at Tennessee when they turned the ball over quite a bit. Razorbacks start with the ball just beyond their 30-yard line. They come out in the I, and it's the tailback, Marius Johnson. Good yardage. That'll be close to a first down. Oscar Malone was expected to start, but Johnson got the call on the first play of the game, and it took number 4, the cornerback, Chris Schelling, to make the tackle.
Yeah, big burst up the middle there, Bob. They just opened a seam. He found the seam and picked up 9 yards on the play. 2nd down and 1. Who knows? Lunny may say, hey, let's just throw this ball up, see what we can get with it.
And it's less than 1, really. It's only about a foot. So the Razorbacks have a couple of downs to play with here. Carlton Calvin, the fullback, he blocks and forget it. Quick penetration there. Number 90 is Willie Whitehead, the left defensive end. Well, and they had about 3 or 4 Tigers in the backfield.
That was a smother shot. Watch him just kind of get enveloped here by the defensive line. Watch him just swallow him. Boom, down he goes. Now, instead of being 2nd down and a foot, now all of a sudden you got 3rd down and about 3.
Arkansas on 3rd down this year, respectable at 40%. This time they split the backs, and they both go into pass patterns. Lunny straight ahead, and he's got his man, Carl Johnson, the tight end. That ball out to the 44-yard line, and a first down as Carl Johnson makes his 10th reception of the year. And he's a big target. He's built like a fullback at 6'2", 240.
Yeah, 240 is a big target. It's just run across the line, do a little out pattern. It's covered by the backer in this situation. As you said, big target, just enough to get that first down. That's safe football.
Ken Elvis, the redshirt freshman, strong safety on the tackle. Razorbacks with 3 wide receivers.
Audible along the line.
Lunny sees something. Now he calls a timeout with 1 second remaining on the play clock. Chris Schelling and some of his buddies in the secondary are up near the line of scrimmage pinching up on Lunny. He calls the timeout, and the Razorbacks have the ball when we return. Ford, 2nd year at the helm of the Razorbacks, 8-9-1 overall, and there's Terry Bowden. Unbelievable record of 18-0. First down for the Razorbacks in the I. A fake to the fullback, a pitch to the tailback. Marius Johnson gets maybe a yard or so before Chris Schelling, who plays so well on that right side, the boundary cornerback they call it. He obviously plays on the short side of the field and did a good job of plugging things up.
Boy, you love when a cornerback comes up like that and just stuffs it right along the line. You just keep on stringing it out, defensive tackles, and defensive end pass it along to the backers. The backers pass along to the corner.
2nd down and 8. 4-man punt for the Tigers. Good protection for Lunny. Up top, looking for J.J. Metters. And it was tipped away by Del McGee at the last moment. Del McGee's a junior out of nearby Columbus, Georgia, who's the only guy back there without an interception. But he plays that field cornerback position very well. And, Dave, there's a lot of room to cover out there.
There certainly is. He's one-on-one. The trick is not to put your hand on the receiver. And you see him go up with that right arm and just tip the ball away. The receiver said, hey, wait a minute. I think he put his hand on me, but McGee did not.
A battle of mighty mites there. 5'8" McGee against 5'6" J.J. Metters. And it's now 3rd down and 8 for the Hogs. 3 wide receivers. Backs are split. Lunny's got time. Now he does it. And he is taken down for the sack by Gary Walker. And that'll be his 8th of the year. And the 34th sack of the season by the Auburn defense.
When they just collapsed the pocket on him, Bob, there's just nowhere to go. He wanted to dump it quickly to his back, thought otherwise, and was smothered.
Arkansas punter is redshirt freshman Matt Wade out of Hot Springs. He's averaging 39 yards a kick. They've got everybody up to go for the block, but they don't even get close. Thomas Bailey waiting for it. That is 20. And he fumbles. flag on the play. Looked like the Tigers recovered. Covering the football was number 40, Sean Taylor. But as soon as the return man was hit, a flag flew.
Yeah, that flag is almost the block in the back. It's thrown from that distance.
Block in the back on the return, 10 yards from the end of the run, first down.
That's referee Al Ford and his SEC crew today. And we've got an Auburn player down at the 25-yard line. It appears to be Thomas Bailey. They do not need something like that. Bailey, their senior wide receiver, who's caught 24 passes this year. And he took a pretty good stick.
Big hit right in the middle. Coming underneath, bam, there's the hit. And the fumble.
And that's got some folks here in Auburn very quiet at the moment. They've got two great weapons up there in Thomas Bailey and Frank Sanders, and one of them is disabled for the moment. Patrick Nix, the 6'2 junior out of Rainbow City, Alabama, leads the offense out. Auburn plays a pro eye. Keep your eye on number 48, Stephen Davis, the tailback. He's got the first carry of the game, and the Razorbacks cover it well out that side. Arkansas has only given up 106 yards a game on the ground. And the Burger King lineups offensively for Auburn. The two wideouts that are big targets, and of course the tailback Stephen Davis, who's running for 99 yards a game. Up front, Victor Riley, a true freshman out of South Carolina, has come on to take the starting job at left tackle. Shannon Ropeek is one of the best in the league, and Willie Anderson, one of the best sophomores in this part of the country. Second down, Andy Levin, nips back and looking left, avoids one sack, and the second man got him. That's Stephen Conley. Conley is not listed as the starter, but all he's done this year is registered sack number 6 as he backs up Waylon Wishon at that left defensive end.
And that's one of those secondary sacks where the coverage is so good downfield, it doesn't allow the quarterback to find him. He starts scrambling in the pocket. He loses everybody and goes down for the sack. Those big defensive linemen come back in that huddle and they go, way to go, secondary, good job.
Patrick Nix completing better than 50% of his passes this year. Davis, the tailback, broke a tackle, and another. And he's up over the 20-yard line. That was a 3rd and 14 play, and Terry Bowden kept things rather conservative deep in his own end. You know, he's a very smart young football coach, Dave. He's not going to do things that might get his team beaten early.
Well, so much of this game is dependent upon field position. You don't want to take a chance here, throw an interception, have a play come back and haunt you, because you give a ball to the Arkansas team in this field position, as juiced up as they are coming into this game. This is a big game for them also. They can just turn it around and put you in the hole.
Terry Daniels is the best punter in the SEC. Look at this one. Way back there at the 21-yard line. Mike Higgins. And he'll get about 8 or 9 yards back after a 55-yard kick. There's a flag on the play at the 26-yard line. Chris Schelling on the tackle. And Terry Daniels just showed you why he leads the league in average at 46. This year he's had 2 punts of 61 yards or better, and that was his 15th of the year, 50 yards or better.
And look at the amazing thing was the height of the football, the distance, of course, but the height and the coverage.
Below the waist on the return, half the distance, first down.
Hey, I think Jackie Sherrill was right. They do put helium in the footballs here.
Boy, he got that football up. That's just amazing. When you get a over 50-yard punt and you don't get any return, that tells that ball's up in the air for a long time.
So the Razorbacks back inside their own 13. 5.5 minutes into the ball game, no score. Barry Lunny looking to his tailback. And just a couple of yards off the left side for Marius Johnson. Now, we were told that Oscar Malone, who's nursing an ankle, would start, but Johnson has gotten the call. He's a junior out of Austin High School in Houston. and he's averaging 4 yards a carry.
Well, Bob, one of the things that happens is when you warm up, and you see the pickup there by the back, but one of the things is when you warm up, a lot of times what you think is well, all of a sudden you'll get into that game action, all of a sudden you'll stretch it. And that may have been what happened to Oscar Malone, because he has not been in yet.
Second down and 8. Buddy with a little option, nobody to pitch it to, and they've got him back there. Alonzo Etheridge was the first man who got there.
When you talk about quick recovery to the football, they are just smothering this down the line play.
Well, Oscar Malone expected to start. J.J. Metters is their leading receiver with 27 catches, and they've been throwing to their tight end more lately as well. Up front, the Razorbacks usually run to the right successfully behind Earl Scott, Pat Baker, and Verl Mitchell. Tony Nagy, a young man out of Tulsa, who's been battling injuries, now in there as a starter this year after 2 tough years.
Well, if you're Barry Lunny in this situation, you don't want to panic and make a mistake.
Draw play. It was late developing, and Arkansas gets very little, and they'll have to kick the football away. Now, we talked about the Arkansas defense against the run. Auburn's only giving up 80 yards a game on the ground.
Well, this is that field position, that turnaround in field position that we talked about. You asked why Terry Bowden didn't want to go for it deep, run that little safe play. The same thing is true here. Auburn should get great field position, probably inside the 50-yard line.
Brett Smith standing at his own 48. And a high hanger by Matt Waite will send him into the 44. There's a block in the back and another. And it looks like Auburn, amidst a sea of yellow flags, will get backed up and lose some of that field position. It looked like Jesse Cornelius might have been the first man with the block in the back. And Dave, I don't know why, but we have seen that this year every single game more than ever before.
Well, I had an old coach used to say, if you can read their name, don't block them, because the names are on the back of the jersey.
Block in the back. On the return, 10-yard penalty, first down, 10, timeout.
7:27 remaining in a scoreless first quarter. Auburn and Arkansas. We're back after a word from your local SEC stations. No score. Arkansas defending against Auburn, and in a moment we'll get an update from Bob Kessling, who's got some news regarding Thomas Bailey, who got shaken up pretty hard on a punt return a few minutes ago. Here comes Patrick Nix and the Tigers with their second possession of the day. A fake to the tailback. Plenty of time to throw. And it's caught at the 45 of Arkansas by Frank Sanders. Sanders and Bailey made some unbelievably big catches against the Gators 2 weeks ago. Sanders had the game winner.
And Bob, you can't give this much cushion on a wide receiver. You'll see to the right of your screen, you'll see Sanders come off, go outside. Now watch the distance between him and the coverage. You don't even see the coverage man in the picture. You can't give that much room.
96th catch of his career. He's number 4 on the all-time Auburn list. Now they're into Razorback territory. A couple of the wide receivers and the backs in the eye. Nix has a back circling out. He goes straight ahead and throws it behind Frank Sanders. Thomas Bailey is his partner, and Bob Kessling. How's Thomas?
Well, he's got a bruised thigh, a deep thigh bruise, as a matter of fact. So he's behind the Auburn bench right now, just trying to get some feeling back into it. They think he can play. It's up to Thomas when he feels up to date. We also give you an update on Oscar Malone. As Dave was talking about, he does have the sore ankle. He went through warm-ups, and the Arkansas folks thought it was better for him to stay on the sideline and try and get it loose. But the Arkansas trainer tells us Malone is expected to play today.
Now to the gun goes Nix on 2nd and 10. He will roll left and stop. He wanted to throw a little inside pitch, and the ball is intercepted. It's number 90, Junior Soley, and he will score at the pylon. Touchdown, Arkansas. A 50-yard return by the nose guard.
Bob, what a play. What this was going to be was that little shuffle pass underneath. And Conley got great pressure on him, and Nix just threw the ball up. Unbelievable. Junior Soley, 289 pounds, 6'1". You don't think he's going to run 65, 70 yards with the football. But wow, he looks like he knew what he was doing when he took that football in.
Extra point coming up as the Razorbacks have shocked the crowd here. Lance Ellison is the kicker. Bill Carson the snapper, the holder Jason Allen. There's a flag on the play as the ball went through the uprights.
This must have been someone lined up in the neutral zone.
Now looks like it must have been against Auburn.
Offside. Defense, extra point to it.
You know, there's nothing like a little home cooking. The Razorbacks stayed in Columbus, Georgia last night, where Junior is from. He's of Samoan descent. And what a big play about an hour away from home here in Auburn.
Well, watch the pressure here. It's going to be that little underneath shuffle pass right there. Now, nowhere to throw it. Your linemen are going downfield, and Nix makes a mistake. He just throws it up for grabs. Soley comes across the middle. Watch, no one's there. Soley says, wait a minute, give me that ball and watch me go. Look at the number of blocks he gets. There's a block there. Watch him come into the picture. Everybody wants to get in. They're almost pushing him in there. He dives in the end zone.
It looked like Del Delco, number 3, the free safety, was pushing him like almost like a little tugboat pushing a tanker out to sea. Let's check in downstairs with Bob Kessler.
You know, you talked about Soley making it into the end zone. He's a little bit jet lagged. His grandfather, who's a tribal chief in Samoa and a highly regarded person, died and was buried. His actually the burial is today, but Junior wanted to come back and play in this football game, so he flew 12 hours back from Samoa and got here and is ready to play, and he came up with a big one for the Razorbacks.
And what an emotional moment this has to be for him. Officially, a 51-yard interception return for a touchdown. The Razorbacks borrow a page from the Tigers' book and return a pick for a score. Something Auburn's done 4 times this year.
When we talk about getting your defense and your offense excited, a play like that, that'll keep you high for the rest of this half.
And then the ball kicked well into the end zone by Lance Ellison. Frank Sanders fielding it there. They had Willie Gaucher, a wide receiver, back there helping him out with Thomas Bailey injured.
Now, really important that Nix just forgets about that. Comes out and says, hey, that happened. We can't correct it. Now go out and run your offense. But you watch the bounce in this Arkansas defense. Since they scored, there's nothing like a score for a defensive unit.
First Arkansas return for a touchdown on an interception since the LSU game last year. And that's great to see Thomas Bailey back in there for Auburn. We would hate to come all the way down here and spend an afternoon and not be able to see him perform. There's a pitch to Stephen Davis, the tailback. He breaks a couple of tackles. There's a flag on the play as he's loose to midfield. Still working behind his blockers, and the Razorbacks get him down at the 37-yard line. A 43-yard run. Now the flag was picked up after it was, no, it's not. It's back at the 20-yard line, and a holding call against Auburn.
Yeah, well, that flag was thrown. It was thrown right along the line of scrimmage. That's going to negate about a 50-yard run. Just incredible. You hate those big linemen to hold in there, that blocking back to hold.
10 yards, half the distance, still first down.
I wondered if it was Bailey. Maybe that on that play. There's Bailey. Let's watch and see what he does on the play. That's not a hold. That's not a hold. That's not a hold. Nope.
That wasn't him.
That's not him.
Ball put back just inside the 10 as the Tigers are assessed half the distance to the goal line.
And let me tell you emotionally how this works in the defensive huddle. All of a sudden you've had a big run. It's been negated. Now you come back and say, hey, we've even got them deeper in the hole. We hold them here, we're going to give our offense the football. But Nix has got other plans.
This is an Arkansas defense that only gives up 4 yards per down this year. And shooting the gap to make the tackle on Harold Morrow is Mark Smith, the strong side linebacker.
And Bob, you talked about Terry Daniel and the effect he has in this football game. You can run safe plays like this deep in your distance because you know you've got a great punter in case you don't make it. So what do you want to do in this situation is play safe football. Don't make the big mistake. Don't fumble the football. Don't force it into coverage.
Second down and 15. 85 is Waylon Wishon, the left defensive end. Soley Thomas, Marcus Adair, the razor end up front for Arkansas. A fake to the tailback and a roll to the right. Nix looking to the far side, and he's got number 81, Frank Sanders again. And he's getting closer to 100 career catches. That's 2 today. 34 on the season and 97 in his career.
Boy, what a nice play that Sanders makes on this. He comes back to the football. Little play action fake there. Now come out to the strong side. Now when Sanders throws the football, or I should say when Sanders catches the football, he actually comes back to the ball. That reduces the chance of an interception. Knew just how far he had to get for the first down and picked it up. Beautifully played by the senior out of Fort Lauderdale, right in front of Carl Kidd, the strong safety. First down, Tigers at their own 31. And the pitch to Davis. Trying to sweep to the left. Razorback pursuit gets him. The ball is loose, and it's picked up by Willie Johnson. And Arkansas has the football. Oh, you're going to hear the crowd roar on this one because they thought he was down. The ball popped out very late. Now, he may have lost control of the football earlier, but the ball looked as if he was down on the play. Again, watch here. Watch the knees. That's the secret. When does the ball come out? He still has it there. Still has it there. Knees are down. Oh, that ball comes out right there. Wow. At the Auburn 41-yard line. There's Oscar Malone. And he's tackled as he goes through the middle by number 96, Gary Walker. Oscar Malone, a junior. He's an Alabama kid out of Gadsden who's rushed for 1,411 yards in his career coming in. Number 11 on the all-time Arkansas list. He's right behind quarterback Quinn Grovey. Got about 300 yards to catch him, which he should do by the end of the season. Oscar averages 7 yards a carry. Tops in the SEC. He got 3 that time. Barry Lunny looking up the middle, and Chris Schelling got him. That's his second sack of the year, and already Auburn with 3 sacks on the day. And what a perfect call on this play. It's a corner blitz. Schelling is the outside corner. Watch the way Lunny faces to his left. He never sees Schelling coming from the backside, and he just swallows him. Big down here for Lunny. You want to get the ball. You want to get the ball down to about the 30-yard line so you get the first down. You don't want to give up the big play, force it in there, but they want to come away with some points on this turnover. Arkansas with a chance to take control of this game early. Lunny on 3rd and 13. And the ball was tipped to the line of scrimmage, and we have a couple of flags all over the place. Well, that flag was thrown way late, even after the ball was taken from his hand. What happened, Lunny was going to hold up. He was going to fake, and the ball just popped out of his hand.
Now, illegal touching. Ball hit an ineligible receiver. It's 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, plus loss of down. It's 4th down.
Yeah, that ball came off of Lunny's hand and hit one of his offensive linemen. Watch this. You're going to see here, he's going to try to fake pump it and bring it back. And watch when he fake pumps right here. The ball comes off his hand, hits one of his offensive linemen, and pops up in the air. And when something like that happens, you're lucky it doesn't get intercepted. Absolutely. 6 penalties already, 4 against Auburn. Here's Matt Waite looking to play some field position for the Razorbacks. Fred Smith, the Auburn return man. Ball will hit at the 10. And did they keep it from the goal line? Yes, they did. A good play by the Razorbacks, Demetrius Smith, to down it. Auburn deep in its own territory, down by 7. We're back after this from CarQuest Auto Parts. Our nationwide insurance SEC Scholar Athlete of the Week, Barry Lunny, the Arkansas quarterback, a junior kinesiology major, 3.31 grade point. He's also a member of last year's SEC Academic Honor Roll. And Barry Lunny, Jr. of the Razorbacks, our nationwide insurance SEC Scholar of the Week. And the left-hander can also throw the baseball pretty well. 2-time All-State baseball player at Southside High School in Fort Smith, drafted by the Montreal Expos a number of years ago, and decided to become a Razorback. 3:10 to go. First quarter, Auburn at its own 3-yard line. They've had tough field position throughout the first 12 minutes of this game. 2 wide receivers to the left as the backs are in the eye. Tight end lined up on the right.
And they'll run straight ahead with the junior fullback out of Maplesville, Alabama, Harold Morrow.
And this is where you want your defensive lineman not to get knocked down. Slide along, play that pursuit defense along the line. Don't let that seam burst open so they pick up 8-10 yards.
So, Dave, containment then the key when you're down there.
Exactly. Keep them inside.
FSU on top in ACC play. The Seminoles are number 9 in the nation this week. Michigan is number 10 as they lead Wisconsin Big Ten play by a field goal. And Nebraska's at good field position leading Colorado. They pooched a punt inside the Colorado 5 early, and that has helped the Huskers so far. 2nd and 7. Running out of his own end zone and getting some good yardage is Stephen Davis. He'll be out near the 10-yard line. Davis is such a workhorse, and they had James Bostic there, of course, a year ago, who is number 7 all-time of the Auburn list with 2,084 yards. And Davis, a junior out of Spartanburg, has stepped right in.
Bobby talks about containment. That's what that play was. Contain them, keep them inside. They can pick up that 3-4 yards, but it brings up 3rd down and 5 or 4.
Davis with those 4 100-yard games. He's averaging 99 per game. Down to the long 3. Davis again. And he's got it. He's out beyond the 20. And it takes about 4 Razorbacks to get him down near the 25.
And you see what he did? He broke that seam, found that little tiny seam in the burst. Watch him pick his hole right here. 2 or 3 missed tackles on this play. Right there is a missed tackle. An arm tackle, you're not going to bring him down. There's 2. There's 3. You talk about the number of people, 4, 5. Takes a lot of people to get him down.
First down at the 24 for the Tigers with 1:25 to go in the first quarter. Arkansas leads it 7-0 on the Junior Soley 51-yard interception return. Yeah, don't adjust your audio. That was Junior Soley going 51 yards, folks. One of the most dramatic plays we've seen by a defensive lineman in a long, long time.
I'll tell you, that's something that every lineman dreams of happening. That you just happen to be standing in the right place. The quarterback throws the ball right to you, and you get to run for 60 yards or so.
Terry Bowden.
I'm still dreaming of that play. It never happened to me.
Terry Bowden came to Auburn 2 years ago and said, I came here to stay. They may never want him to leave the way things have gone here. But they've got a bit of a problem in the final minute of the first quarter here today. Hicks from the gun, straight ahead, Sanders, and all over him is Vincent Bradford, a sophomore out of Malvern. This is an interesting story. Vincent was drafted out of high school by the Detroit Tigers to play baseball. Spent 3 years in their organization. He was a 3rd-round draft choice, and now he's back in school playing football.
Big down here again. 3rd down, about 4 yards. Last time they gave it to Davis. I wonder if they do that again. A little different, interesting insignia on the jerseys there. That's a little different, isn't it?
Yeah, they put a little Razorback on the shoulders and that fancy red stripe at the top of the sleeves. Razorbacks, one of the great traditional programs in college football. They dominated the Southwest Conference, winning 13 titles, national champs in '64, and they look a little more contemporary with these new uniforms. And they look pretty good on the road as well. First quarter gone at Auburn. On Soley's big play, it's Arkansas leading 7-0. Auburn, Alabama, Bob Carpenter, Dave Rowe, and Bob Kessling on our SEC network, and we welcome the folks watching on Prime and HSC in the middle part of our nation today. Razorbacks are flying high on the road, leading 7-0. But a lot of folks have found out before you've got to play 4 quarters to beat Auburn. 3rd down and 3 for the Tigers. Patrick Nix almost intercepted. He was looking for Andy Fuller, his tight end, and Vincent Bradford was the man who cut in front, gambling and almost winning the interception.
Boy, that's a good play by Bradford to cut in front and tip that football away. Had he caught it, that was 1st down yardage.
First punt, 57 yards by Terry Daniel. 15 punts this year of over 50 yards.
You know who Daniel says he most admires as a punter?
I would think Ray Guy.
My old teammate, Ray Guy.
They kick about the same.
They sure do. That's the first thing I noticed.
Well, he got this one low. On the line and on the run is Mike Higgins, trying to cut inside, got an extra yard or two, and he's down at the Razorback 33. That's how good Daniel is. Even his bad punts go 44 yards. I'll look at our Lee Apparel first quarter stats. Shows Auburn dominating in rushing and statistically, but Arkansas has the one big play by Junior Sully. That's the difference in the ballgame.
That's incredible. To have 5 yards, to be in the football game, and to be leading it.
Well, that's Arkansas defense. That's right. Razorbacks have only given up more than 16 points one time this year. And that was at Tennessee when they had 6 fumbles. Lunny, option right, Malone. In the backfield, tripped up by one man, stopped by another. Anthony Harris was the first man to get there. And Jason Miska, the middle linebacker who plays next to Harris, finished him off. Jason, a junior out of Connecticut. He came from Bridgeport to play at Auburn.
Well, Miska's number 45. Watch me. He's going to come in the middle. Now, get outside, play, string it along. Watch this play. You just can't do any better than that. He's 20 yards from where his lineup position was. He says he doesn't want to make all the tackles. He just wants to make the ones that the other people make. In addition to his own, of course.
Second and 11 with 3 Arkansas wide receivers. Lunny looking left. J.J. Metters, first catch of the day. He's tough to tackle. He fumbles, but the ball goes out of bounds for him at the midfield stripe. Del McGee on the coverage and the hit. And J.J. Metters has just caught his 28th pass of the year. They call him Mighty Mouse. He goes 5'6", 153.
Watch what he does to the cornerback in this situation. He just freezes the cornerback. Fakes inside, back outside. Now go back inside. You see the cornerback trying to come up. That's Del McGee. He just comes up and he just catches air. And then if you're lucky, like he was, the ball goes out of bounds.
And J.J. shaken up on the play. First down Razorbacks at their 48. And Lunny keeping it. It looked to me like he wanted to give the ball to Carlton Calvin, and then he held on to it at the very last moment and ran the ball for the 50th time this year. Alonzo Etheridge on the stop.
Well, Bobby should have given it to Calvin on that play. Calvin burst through the line for about 6-7 yards. It's just so hard to run that option down the line when you have team speed, and that's what Auburn has.
J.J. Metters is a junior. The rest of the Arkansas receivers are all youngsters. James Perry, sophomore. Anthony Eubanks, redshirt freshman. Shannon Sidney, a redshirt freshman. Mike Higgins, the old man, a junior, but he hasn't played that much. Couple of wide receivers to the right. Lunny will option that way and pitch it behind Malone. Nice catch by Oscar. And he's to the Auburn 45-yard line. He turned what could have been a disaster into a pretty routine play.
Well, you just cannot throw this ball behind the receiver, the running back on the toss. And that's what Lunny did, and he got away with it only because Malone made a tremendous catch behind him.
Now, Dave, Lunny's a left-handed quarterback. How difficult is it for him to run the option to the right side?
Well, it's just like anybody that plays right-handed doing something left-handed. It's a lot different because you're using the hand that you're not normally accustomed to.
Third down and 3. Arkansas in Auburn territory, leading 7-0. To the fullback. He gave it to him that time. And Carlton Calvin, the fourth-year senior out of Keller, Texas, has the first down. Carlton's a grinded-out guy. He only averages 3 yards a carry. His long run on the year is only 11.
And, Bob, that's an adjustment that comes down from the press box. We see the coaches right next to us in the press box here. They make those adjustments. They go down there and they say, hey, he should have given it to the fullback on that last series. There the coaches are, high atop the stadium. That time he gave it to him, as you said, burst through there and got the first down.
And a big one for the Razorbacks. 3 minutes into the second quarter. Auburn fans dying for some defense here. And Barry Lunny has called a second Arkansas timeout here in the first half. But it's the Razorbacks on the move and leading 7-0 in our Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week.
Mike's the first guy that ever explained life insurance in a way that we could understand it.
Making things clear is the part of it.
The computer has him at 44 this week in the rankings. And there are Liberty Bowl scouts here at the stadium today. First down at the Auburn 39. Play action, Lunny, and he's got his man, the tight end, Carl Johnson, second catch of the day. And the big fella appeared to ramble beyond the first down marker.
And, Bob, that's another adjustment off that option play down the line. You fake it into the fullback. You watch the back come off, the receiver come off on a little slant. If he's there, you pop it to him. If not, you still have the toss. Good offensive game plan there by Danny Ford.
Little simple pass, Barry Lunny and company. They've been throwing the ball a little more the last couple of weeks, and they've been throwing it very intelligently. 7 touchdowns, no interceptions the last 4 games. Another first down for the Razorbacks. To the fullback, Calvin, big hole, right side. And he's down for another first down. That may be Carlton's longest run of the year. It looks like he got about 12 or 13 there. Depending on where they spot it, it'll be inside the 18 of Auburn.
Great block there by Burl Mitchell, number 72. He totally swamped Willie Whitehead on the line. He just drove him off the line about 3 yards.
And a pretty good open field tackle by Brian Robinson that might have saved a touchdown. Arkansas better than 40 yards on this drive so far. By far their best of the day. Malone, he is loose. And he is inside the 10 to the 7. And that may be another first down.
Well, the big men up front are controlling the line of scrimmage, and don't the running backs know it? You watch it when they get in that huddle. They'll look at the big men up front and say, way to go, way to open that line hole. Again, watch the seam open up. It's going to open up on the left of your screen. Big block in there by Baker, 61. There's Mitchell kicking out there. Earl Scott got his block, 66 to center.
Mike Higgins, James Perry, the wide receivers. Razorbacks are running the football like crazy all of a sudden. It's awfully noisy at that end of the stadium. Barry Lunny, nobody to give it to, and he manages to fall forward for maybe 1.5 yards.
Well, the hole was there. There wasn't any back to pick the football up. The up back ran the wrong direction. He came to the left on the play.
And Alonzo Etheridge is a guy who can plug up a few holes at 6'4", 260, the senior out of Selma.
And you saw Danny Ford there use his ears, put his hands behind his ears. He's saying they can't hear the play. Don't try to call an audible on the line.
Arkansas nearing 60 yards on this drive now, and they've eaten up better than 420. And keep in mind with that noise, they've only got 1 timeout remaining. Lunny to Malone, and he will be tackled for a loss, but there's a flag at the 7-yard line. A pair of linebackers, Marcellus Mostella and Jason Miska, got there simultaneously.
I thought somebody drug down Alonzo Etheridge. He was the outside man on the contain, and I thought they just grabbed him and yanked him down.
It'll be against the Razorbacks.
Now maybe Schelling, number 4. Let's see what happens here.
Blocking the back, on the run, 10 yards, still second down.
Yeah, looked like Carlton Calvin may have blocked him in the back.
That really changes the complexion of this play. All of a sudden, it's 2nd and goal from about the 18-yard line. Now, if you're Arkansas, you say, don't make a mistake here. At least come away with a field goal try and at least come away with 3 points.
Their kicking game has been mediocre this year. They're 50% on field goals. 3 wide receivers on 2nd and goal from the 18. Lunny. And he throws it well off the mark. He was looking out there for Shannon Sidney, the redshirt freshman wide receiver.
That looked like another mess up on the line. It looked like Sidney either went the wrong direction or Lunny thought Sidney was coming on a crossing pattern, and Lunny threw it as if it was an out pattern.
And there really wasn't much of a pocket in there for him to sit into. It was kind of like one of those little coin pockets you have in your pocket.
Yeah.
There was not much room for Barry to operate. He had to get rid of the ball very quickly, and now it'll be 3rd and goal. And 3rd and long. A single back with 3 wide receivers. Tight end on the left. A draw play. Oscar Malone is stopped cold. Mike Pelton, the man who got there with Marcellus Mostella.
Nowhere to go on the play, but it does get it to the middle of the field. That helps as far as the field position for the field goal kicker. At least they'll have a straight-on try by Ellison.
Lance Ellison, the junior out of Conway, only 50%. His longest of the year, 36. This one will be from 37 yards. But he is right in the middle. Bill Carson, the snapper. Quarterback Jason Allen is the holder. Danny Ford specializes in the kicking game. And he's pushed it well to the right. Not even close. That is one head coach who pays a lot of attention to his kicking game. He's got to be very disappointed as he settles for the 7-0 lead. Auburn has the football back after the missed 37-yard field goal. The Razorbacks waste a 45-yard, 12-play drive where they ate up 6 minutes and 13 seconds. Patrick Nix and the Tigers with the football back. Time of possession for the visitors so far. 8.5 to go before halftime. Nix out to the right side. Wide open, Frank Sanders. And he is out of bounds at the 46 of Auburn, a 24-yard play. That's his third catch of the day. Vincent Bradford from linebacker on the coverage.
Well, that's play action into the line, and Sanders completely turned the corner around. Faked inside, faked back outside, and you see the corner's not even in the picture. That's just great separation.
And now officially 4 catches for 70 yards. The next catch for Frank will be number 100 in his outstanding Auburn career. He's way up over 1,600 yards now. Nix to Davis. And he tripped up a little bit as he approached the line of scrimmage. Then he had the misfortune of having Junior Soley fall on him. Let's take it downstairs for Bob Kessling.
One thing to watch, guys, right now, the Arkansas defensive line is banged up. Ken Anderson, defensive end, is not in there. He's nursing a bruise right above his ankle. He can't put a lot of weight on it. Tried to play last series, but isn't in there right now. And also, Junior Soley, after his touchdown run, went to the locker room with an upset stomach. He's still not 100%, but he is back in the lineup.
Oh, it's that airline food from that 12-hour flight. 2nd down and 5. Davis. He makes a great adjustment. And he's down to the 42, maybe the 41. Nothing open straight ahead, so he made a nice cut to the outside.
Well, I've watched Davis's style a couple times this year, and he almost runs like Eric Dickerson. He takes the ball, he's very under control. See right there, get the feet back out, makes a great adjustment back outside. Shows 2 things. He's got excellent footwork in there, plus he has good vision to look back and see the hole develop on the backside of the play.
You'd think on a day when he's halfway to his average already in the 2nd quarter, Auburn would have points on the board, but they have nothing. At the Razorback 42, Nix rolling. He threw it a little too tall for Harold Morrow as the clock stops with 6:57 to go. We're headed somewhere next Saturday with our Lee Apparel SEC game of the week. Bama plays in Baton Rouge, and these Razorbacks will go to Starkville. Either way, we'll be on the air at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. Check your local listings for our SEC station in your area. Alabama still rolling along in the SEC West. They're tied with Auburn with 5-0 conference marks. The Tide of Gene Stallings, 8-0. Alabama has the week off before that game at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge next weekend. 2nd and 10. Nix up top. Man open. Bailey inside the 20. Del Delco bumps it out of bounds. But Thomas Bailey is back from his injury, and he was wide open.
And, Bob, I think this really speaks highly of Bailey because he had that thigh bruise early in the game. That's awfully hard to come back. Now, big linemen can come back from it, but not those wide receivers. And Bailey just gets great separation from the corner and drives him off and comes up with a big play inside the 20-yard line.
22 yards on the reception. Those his numbers coming into today. He averages 12 yards a catch. And he's number 9 in the Auburn list all time. He's up around 80 for his career in receptions. First down, Tigers. The pitch to Davis. Trying to get around the outside. Now check it. It's Fred Beasley with his first catch of the day. A true freshman from Montgomery who backs up Davis. As Terry Bowden has the drive he's been waiting for.
Well, I bet it's been a long time since Terry Bowden's looked up with under 7 minutes on the clock and said, hey, we're not leading this game. We haven't even scored. But as he runs, he gets outside. He's looking for that corner, gets that first down yardage. Well, actually, it's 2nd down and about 4 yards to go.
Beasley got his job done. He checks out. Davis is back in there. Tigers have been unbelievable inside the red zone this year. Only once all year have they not scored, and that was on a missed field goal of over 50 yards. Davis wrapped up nicely by the Razorbacks. First man to smother him was Vincent Bradford, who backs up Willie Johnson at that weak side linebacker. He may not be backing up for long. Vince now has 4 tackles today.
That was an interesting call. They had an all-out blitz, brought the 2 safeties up the middle, and they guessed right. They guessed running play, first down. They also guessed that Stephen Davis would get it.
Wide right goes Frank Sanders. Wide left goes Tyrone Goodson, a redshirt freshman. Nix out of the gun, splits the backs on 3rd and 7. And he's looking the way of Sanders. He slipped. No chance at all to catch that one. Tracy Cantaloupe from right corner with the Arkansas coverage. And onto the field is Matt Hawkins and the Auburn field goal team. There's Tracy, the junior out of Dothan, Alabama, one of those Bama guys playing for the Razorbacks. Hawkins has a long kick of 45 against East Tennessee State this year.
He's only 7 of 12, so it's not a whole lot better than Arkansas's kicker.
This is a 33-yard attempt. He hasn't tried one from the 30 or the 40 in between this year. Snapper Brian Brinsfield, the holder Patrick Sullivan. And it looks good. Tigers finally on the scoreboard, 5:55 before halftime on the Matt Hawkins field goal, and it's Arkansas 7, Auburn 3. Brought to you in part by your local Toyota dealer. I love what you do for me, Toyota. On a cloudy day when it was 60 degrees at kickoff here in Auburn, Alabama. It's week 9 of the season, final week of October. Can you believe it? And 7-3 as Arkansas looks for the upset on the road. This is a big game for the Razorbacks. If they could sneak this one today, they'd be 4-4, and they would have remaining what they would consider 3 winnable football games. At Mississippi State next week, although it's tough there. Non-conference with Northern Illinois, and then finishing up in Little Rock with LSU. There's the Auburn drive. 63 yards in just 2.5 minutes. Madre Hill, the Arkansas deep man. Freshman running back. Trying to find a seam out to that right side. Not much there. And the Razorbacks will start somewhere around their 23.
Bob, I can promise you on the sideline of Arkansas, Danny Ford told his players, don't make a mistake. Don't fumble the football. Don't throw an interception. Don't force the ball into traffic. Just eat up the clock. Use that running play. Try to find Calvin busting through there for 6-7 yards at a time, but play safe football and protect this lead.
These teams are eating up some serious yardage on first down today. Lunny to his left. J.J. Metters. And it's a good thing Del McGee had some help because he gambled for the interception. Luckily, he had Ken Alvis behind him to help out with the tackle.
Well, this is the closeness between it's 7 points going one way and 7 going the other way. That ball looked like it floated off of Lunny's hand when it came out there. It wasn't delivered with that great speed. Just kind of floated out there. It's going to be thrown right in your hands here. There's Metters making his quick out. Now watch the trajectory of the ball. See, it kind of flutters a little bit. The interception was almost there.
Dell was smelling his second career interception. Had one against Alabama last year. Into the belly of the fullback, the fake, and then Lunny keeps it. And he's taken down from behind by Willie Whitehead. And that's why they look for defensive linemen who have great speed. Whitehead got him from behind, and here's Bob.
On Metters' catch a moment ago, he's also playing with a severely jammed hand. If you remember a couple series ago, he came out of the lineup and he went over to the sideline. He had jammed his fingers. They then kind of loosened him up, put some ice on him. So he is back in the game playing with a very, very sore left hand.
Hey, when you're 5'6", you got to play hurt. You're 5'6", 153 pounds.
Well, I've seen some rather unnecessary measurements before, but that's right up there with the best of them.
I would have said, you know, hey, we look across, the ball's on about the 33. They only had to make the 30. I think that's probably a first down.
That was at least 1.5 yards beyond the ball.
Hey, Bob Kessling probably guessed that one right.
Our man's not wrong too much down there, and neither of these SEC officiating crews. That's a little bit of a surprise. First down Razorbacks at their 34. 5:10 to go in the first half. Arkansas leading Auburn 7-3. Nice option, Marius Johnson, and he's out to the 39-yard line, and he had Gary Walker riding on him for about 4 yards there.
Well, one of the things you want to do in this play is to use that clock up as much as you can. You see the quarterback yelling back and forth along the line. Now he goes to the sideline, picks up the play. He wants to use the entire time to eat this clock up so that they can get in position perhaps for a field goal or a touchdown, but not give the ball back to Auburn.
3 wide receivers on 2nd down and 5. Backs in the eye with no tight end. Lunny feeling for a pocket, and it collapses on him. Walker is there. Whitehead is there. He might have been the first, and Willie Whitehead has his 4th sack of the year and number 16 of his career.
Well, you question a play like this. It's fake belly action now. He wants to throw the football. There's nowhere he can throw it. Now he turns around and look what he sees. Willie Whitehead, number 90, coming into the picture.
Alonzo Etheridge, 91, also getting there. There's Willie, the senior out of Tuskegee. He'll be up around 200 career tackles by the time he finishes his career here in Auburn. They try to get a man off the field, and they have to call a timeout. It was Jason Miska running about a 4.5 40 to make it to the bench.
Yeah, that's a set. What they do is they take out the middle linebacker when they go to that nickel back. It's called nickel back because it's 5 defensive backs.
So Auburn stops the clock with 3:53 remaining. That's a timeout Terry Bowden really did not want to use. He figured if Arkansas gets another first down or so, if he got the football back at all, it would be late in the second quarter, and he'd have to use some of those timeouts.
Well, you think about ifs and buts and what happened on that 2nd down play. It was 2nd down, about 5 yards to go. They got the sack back all the way back for 6 yards. So that makes it 3rd down and 11. They were on a drive. Now they've got that pass that's that desperation, kind of that undecided pass where you almost have to force it in. And as quick as Auburn recovers on defense, this secondary is an incredible secondary for Auburn.
Wayne Hall's 4-3 defense has scored 6 touchdowns this year, 4 on interceptions, 2 on fumble recoveries. They have been a big play squad all year long, and they're only giving up 17 yards a game and only 80 yards a game on the ground, and there's Wayne and company upstairs.
Well, it's an incredible stat. When you stop and look at, they're turning the ball almost 4 times a game. That means that they're getting 4 fumbles or interceptions or the addition of both of them. That's just an incredible stat. To hold that up for 7 games is amazing.
3rd down and 10 for the Razorbacks. 3 wide receivers. They keep it inside. And running backward and trying to tumble downfield was Carlton Calvin.
Boy, if Calvin could have gotten squared up, there's no telling how far he would have gone on that play, Bob. Now Auburn should take a timeout. They want to get the football back. They want to have a lot of time left on the clock. Arkansas is going to have to punt the football on this down.
So Auburn stops it again, and each team now will have 1 remaining. There's still plenty of time up there, 3 minutes and 48 seconds. And with the coaches and players talking about things, let's hear what Bob Kessling has to add.
Bob, coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at one of the remarkable stories in the Southeastern Conference. A guy who isn't here today, Vernon Wade of the Arkansas Razorbacks. But a remarkable story he is indeed. Also, we'll take a look at the SEC Player of the Week, a member of that high-powered Georgia Bulldog offense, and we'll check other scores around the country. Many #1 teams or #1 hopefuls in action today, including these Auburn Tigers. I'll have all the scores and highlights coming up at halftime.
All right, Bob, and the Razorback defense, Danny Ford hoping to have Vernon Wade back, their most reliable defensive lineman. He's out with a knee strain that he suffered in the first quarter of the Memphis game back on the 24th of September. Hasn't played now the last 4 games. Senior defensive tackle, and they really felt they needed him this year after the graduation of the outstanding All-SEC player, Henry Ford.
Bob, you mentioned that Bob Kessling had talked to Danny Ford before the game. He said, we need to get off well. Can't make mistakes. We need to control the football on the ground. They've done a lot of those positive things to stay in this football and be ahead here 7-3 as the time ticks down.
Good average today for Matt Waite. He's got time, and he lets go with a beauty. That'll send Fred Smith back, and he doesn't want to field it. And the Razorbacks will watch it die at the 4-yard line. 54 yards on the kick by the redshirt freshman Matt Waite out of Lake Hamilton High School in Hot Springs. You know, he was a tailback there who ran for 1,700 yards, so he's quite an athlete, and that was a great kick.
Oh, that ball. Anytime that ball, the receiver stands on the 10-yard line. As we look at some of the scores coming up, the receiver stands on the 10-yard line. If it goes over his head, he usually lets it go because it's going to go in the end zone. It did not.
Well, it's not looking like the game of the century for Colorado at the moment, is it?
No, it certainly is not.
McCartney's team trailing by 17 up in Lincoln. Tom Osborne does not get enough credit for what he does with that program year after year. First down, Auburn. Into the end zone. Nix way deep in the end zone. A pump fake up top. And it's a little bit too far for Frank Sanders. There was safety help coming from Del Delco after Sanders, with the help of that pump fake, beat his man on the corner.
Man, Nix could have stood back there and made a sandwich the time he had to play back there. That was incredible. He just kept on looking. All of a sudden, he points to one of his wide receivers and says, go long, go long. I got plenty of time back here.
Nix now 5 of 11 for 84 yards. Not the kind of day he's had lately. Coming off a career best 319 against Florida. 9th best day in Auburn history. Field position has really been a problem for the home team today. Second down inside their 5. And the first man through is the fullback, Joe Frazier, with his first carry of the day and his 27th carry of the season.
Now, if you're Arkansas and you're Danny Ford, you're sitting there saying, hey, we still got 3 minutes left in this football game. If we hold them here, we may get the football back.
Ironically, those Auburn timeouts could turn out to be a big help to Arkansas, because Ford only has 1 remaining. 3rd down and 6 with 3 minutes to go before halftime. And a big play in this game for both teams. Sanders to the left, Bailey to the right. Nix pitching to Stephen Davis. And he is smacked down just beyond the 10-yard line. Pretty good stick there by Willie Johnson. Now, Willie might have gotten the worst of that against big Stephen Davis, but it was a nice effort, and Arkansas holds.
Interesting, they don't call a timeout. They have that 1 timeout left. We're kicking down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds, but they don't call the timeout. Now, what Auburn needs to do is use all the time they can.
You know what, Dave? I bet he feels he'll need the timeout because of the kicker.
Exactly.
Daniel puts the ball so far downfield, Ford would rather use the timeout on offense. This one doesn't go that far, but it hangs up for a while. Higgins hit in his 46. That's about it. Joe Frazier on special teams after a 43-yard punt by Terry Daniel. So Terry didn't get all of it, and the Razorbacks have some field position to work with just outside their own 45.
Well, watch this coverage. He catches the ball. Now watch the blue shirts. They're in his face already. All that is hang time. That means how long the ball, from the time it leaves his foot, how long it is in the air before the receiver catches it.
Minute 56 for the Razorbacks to try to get a score. Running, play action, right sideline, and a nice catch up in the air. That's Mike Higgins.
Well, that was a big-time catch on the corner.
Well, he's a Georgia kid who played at Northeast Oklahoma Junior College. That's a school coached by Mike Lloyd that has sent a lot of players to the SEC.
Yeah, just an out pattern, but watch how high he goes for the football. Great concentration now. Get that foot down in bounds. Goes out of bounds to stop the clock. That's a perfect play.
Well, he got both feet down. First down with 1:49 to go. 3 wide receivers. Lunny rolling left option, and they've got him from behind. And it was Brian Robinson blitzing from free safety. And that's his first sack of the year.
Oh, and I'll bet you that Lunny says, why didn't I give this ball to Calvin coming up the middle? Watch Calvin burst through right there. It's fake action right there. Never sees on the backside. This is the 4th sack that Auburn has on Lunny in the first half.
37 sacks by this tough defense this year, and number 1 for the junior out of Fort Lauderdale.
See him kind of tell Lunny, shake that one off. You just can't stand that long in the pocket. You've got to see on the backside. Anytime you see your quarterback take and put his head back like that, That means he's trying to get some air in those lungs. Boy, a worried Terry Bowden in this first half. He hasn't seen this team behind like this and be controlled like this in a long time.
Well, this is an offense this year that has scored 22, 44, 30, 38, 41, 42, and at Florida, 36 points, averaging 36 a game. And Arkansas has indeed hog-tied them this afternoon so far.
Well, it's been a real half of field position. We talked about where the starting position for each offense has been. It has really been Arkansas's football to start in the good field position. They started out near the 40-yard line on the average, where Auburn has started inside the 15.
First time all year Auburn did not score in the first quarter this season. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. This broadcast a copyright presentation. Any use of it without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference at Jefferson Pilot Sports is prohibited. Second and 15 for the Razorbacks. They've used all their timeouts. A minute 28 remaining. Lunny with play action again. About to take a hit and unloads it. And it's incomplete inside the 10. Good coverage by Chris Schelling on Mike Higgins.
Well, that was nice. You hear the fans booing, but Schelling had great position on the inside right there. Good pressure there by Gary Walker that time, but as we look at Schelling's position, he just holds his position, and he has the right to hold that position. That's just excellent defensive corner play.
And that's Schelling, 5'10", against 6'3" Mike Higgins, so he better have good position.
There may have been a flag on that play. I didn't see it, but I see him marching it back.
Way back.
Holding during the play, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still second down.
Now that's interesting, to take the penalty, not take the down. But by taking the penalty, you put them 10 yards farther back.
They've got 28 yards to go now for a first down.
Boy, this is when Auburn usually forces an offense into a mistake. They force that ball into the secondary. That secondary is so quick. They catch it on the run. We saw that against LSU. And they ran 3 of them back in the second half.
And Danny Ford does not want to see Barry Lunny do anything right here that he's not absolutely sure of. On 2nd and 28, he's pretty sure about Oscar Malone. He gets outside, far sideline, and he's got the first down unless they mark it short. It appears he went out of bounds right at the 32, which would leave them with 3rd and 1. A 27-yard run.
And this is all Malone. Watch this. The point of attack is there. Now he breaks it all the way back and breaks a tackle there. There's a hand. That's not going to bring him down. Now watch him concentrate on staying in bounds. He gets pushed there, but look at him. See the feet trying to stay in bounds, get as many yards as he can.
27 yards on 2nd down for Oscar Malone. And they've got exactly a yard to go.
Give it to Calvin.
That's the fullback. That's the man, and that's the play for the first down. That'll stop the clock as they move the change with 1:08 to go.
Calvin has played well up front, both blocking and carrying the football. You could just see by the weight on his hand, he was going forward.
Yeah, against his Auburn defensive front, Whitehead, Pelton, Walker, and Etheridge, you don't want to take that extra second to give it to your tailback.
No, they react so quickly to the football. Just give it to the big man up front. And they are really relying on that big front line. Arkansas's offensive line has played great football today.
J.J. Metters and Shannon Sidney split out to the near side. Metters motions. Lunny, deep drop, lets him come, and he had Metters wide open. But he was under some big pressure. Jason Misko is in there. Half of the defensive line was, and Lunny did not have time to set his feet.
Yeah, Lunny tried to hold this ball to the last second, and as he was falling backwards, he tried to throw the ball out to the flat, but Metters hadn't made his turn yet. That was an all-out blitz by Auburn. They said, hey, if you're going to complete it, you're going to have to complete it under pressure. But a lot of time left, 48 seconds. Remember that same timeout that Arkansas had? Oh, that's right. They used that timeout, so they don't have that timeout.
Arkansas is not in field goal range yet. Lunny looking left, and the pocket collapses on him. Pelton was there. Walker was there. Alonzo Etheridge was there. Quarterback pressure came initially from Willie Whitehead, and 5 sacks now for the Tigers today.
Oh, and you talk about pressure. They not only get pressure, they get great pressure from that secondary coverage. There's nobody to throw to. You see Lunny trying to step up, trying to move around in his pocket. He's got nobody to throw to.
3rd and 12, 15 seconds remaining. Lunny throws it quickly and out of the hands of Shannon Sidney. You know, Shannon, what happened there was he was trying to think about getting out of bounds before he actually caught the ball.
Yeah, they were just trying to get in field goal position, throw that ball about 7-8 yards downfield. Now, from this distance, it's going to be about a 46, 47-yarder, isn't it?
And beyond 40 yards this year, Lance Ellison is 0 for 4. He missed earlier from 37. He's on the right hash.
He's got the leg to make it. Now does he have the accuracy to make it?
Good snap, good placement. Will it stay there? Nope, it goes off to the left. So he pushed one and he pulled one. And it stays 7-3 with 6 seconds remaining.
When you talk about missed opportunities, Arkansas missed 2 opportunities in this first half. 2 missed field goals. That's 6 points. That's a lot of points in this football game, especially with Danny Ford's defense playing as well as they are.
Auburn with 1 play left, 1 timeout remaining. Ball at their 31.
I know Auburn was losing at halftime against LSU, but I can't remember a game in a long while when this Auburn Tiger team has been behind.
I don't think they're trying to score. Frank Sanders is 10 yards behind the quarterback, their star wide receiver. And a good first half for Arkansas's defense. They stop a team averaging 36 points a game and lead them 7-3 halfway through. Here's Bob.
Waiting for Coach Terry Bowden to join us here on the sideline. His team, of course, trailing 7-3. And Coach is with us right now. Coach, field position, defense, key in this.
Yeah, with a lot of balls, two critical turnovers. The defense is playing great. We've got to do our job on the offensive side. Arkansas is playing a great football game, just what I thought.
You've been backed up offensively.
Got to have some field position, but we put ourselves in that position. We got a lot of work to do.
Thanks, Coach. Terry Bowden, his team to the locker room, trailing the Arkansas Razorbacks 7-3. Back with halftime activities from Auburn, Alabama, in just a moment.
Nobody's beaten the #1 team this year except them, and so that's one of those things that I think they have going for them.
But if he has any aspirations of being the #1 team in the country, need a win today, and Arkansas leading at halftime 7-3. To call the second half, let's go back upstairs to Bob and Dave.
All right, Bob Kessling, thank you very much. And, of course, with Nebraska thumping Colorado 24-0 right now. Sorry, Nittany Lions. You may be #2 this week. This is what we call one of those grinders, a defensive struggle,
Don't
Dave,
you love it?
when yardage is tough to come by.
You're an offensive player. You like offense. You want to see them up and down the field. You like 35-0. You know, those type of things. Not me. I like them like this.
Well, none of us like 35-0 at halftime, but it was Arkansas with some big plays today. And this was when Patrick Nix did something very uncharacteristic. He laid it up, and Junior Soley went 51 yards.
Watch everybody catch him. As you said, looked like tugboats pushing a barge into the end zone.
And then they had a chance, Arkansas did, to go up 10-0, but a 37-yard field goal was missed by Lance Ellison. 8:30 to go in the second quarter. And then it was Matt Hawkins from 33 yards getting Auburn's only points of the first half. And then Arkansas had a chance to get those 3 points back a little later, but this time Ellison pulled the ball to the left from 47 yards out, and that's how the first half stands at 7-3. Now let's have a look at our Ford halftime statistics. Arkansas didn't have much offense going at all early, but they got a good drive going and got some running yards, and they got some yardage finally.
Yeah, they were able to turn yardage into productive plays. That turnover obviously gave them 7 points fast, so you don't need much offense. But at one time, they had -5 yards offense, but they have been very productive with the offense they have.
And when we looked at our turnover sheet, our stat sheet a minute ago, turnovers really jumped out at us because Auburn has lost the football twice.
Yeah, and Arkansas has not turned the football over. That's a huge thing because Danny Ford said, hey, we've got to play perfect football to be in this game. That is close to being perfect football for Arkansas against this great Auburn team.
And the Ford stats showed that Arkansas has had an edge in time of possession, and they've gotten their rushing yards and passing yards going a little bit after the slow start. But the story of this day really the defenses. Arkansas has done a good job of stopping Auburn, and the Tigers have played their usual tough defense as well.
Yes, they have. This is a real fun game for me. I love to see the defense. I love to see the strategies back and forth, the coach's strategy. Field position that Terry Bowden said as he ran off talking with Bob Kessling has been a big factor in this game, and it will continue to be.
Well, Terry and the Tigers run back on. I bet they've had some interesting things to say at halftime. And we go to the third quarter with Arkansas leading 7-3.
Introducing Ford Contour. Jefferson Pilot Sports exclusive coverage of the Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week is brought to you by Lee Apparel, maker of regular, relaxed, and easy fit jeans and casual pants. Lee is the brand that fits. By the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, the vision to power your dreams. By Molson Ice, from Canada, the land where ice was born. By Hardee's, your tailgating headquarters and a proud sponsor of the Southeastern Conference. And by the all-new Ford Mustang. It is what it was and more.
Well, they have hedges of their own here at Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. And the weather may become a factor here as we move into the second half. It's cooled off. It's very cloudy. The wind is kicked up. And we're told there could be some rain in the area. That could affect play. Now, Arkansas will kick the football away after Auburn won the toss and deferred in the first half.
Big series here. Initial adjustments have been made at halftime. Danny Ford said, we don't make adjustments real well. He doesn't need to make adjustments. He needs to have his team play at the same level. For Terry Bowden and Auburn, they've got to get something going on offense. They have got to move the football. This Auburn team is a team that scores points, and they haven't done it in this first half.
Lance Ellison has the wind at his back for this kickoff. And you sort of figured he'd put it deep into the end zone.
Deep in and deep out. Cleared the end zone.
Ellison a strong leg there, but he hasn't been able to translate that into kicking the ball straight for field goals today.
Well, Bob, and that may really jump out and hurt Arkansas. 6 points against this Auburn team. That was a huge letdown, those two missed opportunities that Arkansas missed in the first half.
5 of 11 in the first half for 84 yards for Patrick Nix. 1 interception. He waits for Davis. Running off the right side. After breaking a couple of tackles at the line of scrimmage, he ran into Marcus Adair with help from Mark Smith.
Now's the fun time if you're on defense and offense. When you're in the locker room at halftime, you make those adjustments. They break down into different positions, linebackers and secondary, receivers and backs, quarterbacks, and a big offensive line. You make the little adjustments. Now you see how they pay off.
Second down with the back split out of the gun. Nix will roll left. Tough throw there, back across his body. He was looking for Frank Sanders, and they were running out of room as the quarterback actually was crossing the near hash.
Well, Sanders actually went out of bounds when he turned. There's a lot of sand on this field. We looked at this field yesterday. It's got a high crown, probably a 12 to 14-inch crown in the middle, and there's a lot of sand that comes up. Beautiful field, though. Nice sods. That's that sand that you see there in the end zone shot.
Auburn 20% on third down today. 4 wide receivers on third down and 6. Beasley in a slot to Nix's left. He throws a little pass across the middle. Tyrone Goodson. And that will be close to a first down. He didn't head upfield immediately. And this one could be close.
Oh, you've got to make that 30-yard line. You have to know where the first down marker is. And I think he's going to come up short. He had plenty of time to jump across that 30-yard line. Once he catches this little dump, he's got to be thinking, hey, I've got to get up to the 30-yard line. Don't run parallel. Get up to the 30-yard line. And he doesn't.
Bunts of 57, 46, and 46. For Terry Bowden's kicker, Terry Daniel. And another beauty. Stroking it down to the 19. Mike Higgins looking to get out to the left, and he was taken down by Darrell Riggins. And a flag on the play at the 27-yard line after a 52-yard kick.
Oh, here it comes again. He'll block in the back, maybe. That just kills your field position. You're going to have the ball. Arkansas would have the ball on about the 27-yard line. Now what?
In the back on the return, 10 yards from the spot, first down.
Now you got it inside your 20.
Just outside the 15, actually. Dean Peavy and company after the defensive series and the special teams play. And now Auburn fans want some D. They want a turnover is what they really want. They've seen a lot of defense so far. Marius Johnson on the carry. Marcellus Mostella wrapping him up. Marius Johnson in the first half today, carrying the ball 6 times for 18 yards in that backfield with Oscar Malone, who ran the ball 7 times for 40 yards.
Boy, Mostella doesn't only break off the initial block, it's that big tackle in there. He's taken on Carlton Calvin. He's about 240 pounds. He stands him up, slides to the football, makes the tackle for about a 3-yard gain.
2nd down and 8. Option, and there's the fullback. And he's got a first down. Carlton Calvin. Arkansas doesn't give the ball to their fullback much on the option, and watching those films, Auburn has decided not to really cover Carlton Calvin today. And obviously somebody at halftime said to the Razorbacks, let's give it to the fullback and make them tackle it.
Now, that's what Rick Schaefer, the SID of Arkansas, said. Hey, we haven't given it to the fullback all year long. So it's almost like a surprise play, but an excellent adjustment by that coaching staff to give it to the fullback. Put it in his stomach. Let him rumble up through there.
First down just short of the 35. Now the tailback, Johnson. Marcellus Mostella got him. 4 tackles on the day now for the sophomore weak side linebacker out of Gadsden, Alabama.
And Bob, you almost get the feeling that Lunny's getting a lot more confidence in his offense. When a quarterback stands back from the pocket and he looks in at his huddle, he can walk up there with a lot more bounce. He just looks like he's a lot more confident up there.
Another 2nd and 8. Last time they gave it to the fullback for a first down. This time play action. Lunny to the right side, and it's caught at midfield by Higgins. And they'll mark his progress just short of the 48-yard line, and that'll be a first down. 12 yards on the pass play.
Good play selection, an out pattern. You think he's going deep, he's going to fake the play action. That's where you fake it in there, bring it back out. Now look downfield. He has time. His offensive line's giving him time. Finds his big target out in the flat. Don't come back too far. Make sure you keep that first down yardage. Just good play selection. Arkansas is playing as well as they can play.
Barry Lunny came in at 54%. 50% today. He doesn't throw for a lot of yards, but as they call the timeout, he has thrown for 3,100 yards in his career. 5th best ever at Arkansas. Hogs with the timeout. They're on the move. Almost 4 minutes into the second half, and they still lead 7-3. Always in the job description, but everybody knows you have to be able to walk miles and miles on Saturday to be a Division I football coach. Terry Bowden learned it very well from Dad Bobby.
And he right now is pacing the sideline.
First down for the Razorbacks, and a fumble on the snap, and Lunny covers it quickly. And he slaps the turf in disgust, and that'll lose a yard or 2.
That was his fault. He pulled his hands out too quickly. He knew it right away, but fortunately he was able to fall on the football for the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's the one big thing that they have avoided today is the turnover.
Razorbacks in their new look uniforms for 1994. Still a bit of a new look with Danny Ford, their second-year head coach. 2nd down and 11. Lunny fakes to the fullback, a quick run, and it was almost picked off on the corner by Chris Schelling. He was looking for Anthony Eubanks. His redshirt freshman split in with a quickie.
Oh boy, this is what you want out of your defensive back. It's called closing speed. It's the distance between the receiver and the defensive back, and watch how quickly Schelling gets up there and reacts. He almost comes up with this football. 2nd and 10. 2nd and 10 for the Razorbacks. 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 2nd and 10
Schelling has 3 interceptions this year, 11 in his Auburn career. Top 6 all time at this great football school.
Big third down, 3rd and 11.
Linebackers are dropping back. Money has time to release it, and it's out of bounds too far as he was looking for Mike Higgins, and Chris Schelling again on the coverage. Well, Auburn didn't get the turnover, but they got the defense stiff, and Arkansas will have to kick it away.
Well, Bob, they did move the football out to almost midfield. They did control the clock for about 4.5 minutes, even though they didn't come out with any points. That's what Danny Ford wants out of this offense, control the ball.
Fred Smith returning punts now with Thomas Bailey shaken up early in the game. Not a very good kick by Matt Waite. Bailey has time to catch it and get about 5 yards or so back after a 38-yard punt. Join us for a great college football matchup at the Outback Steakhouse Gator Bowl December 30. Send a postcard with your name, address, and telephone number to the address on the screen. Register to win a trip for 2, including game tickets, hotel, and airfare. We'll announce the winner on our SEC Game of the Week, November 26th. You must be 21 or older to enter.
Bob, you talked about how noisy this crowd was at that LSU game. Have you ever heard a more quiet crowd?
Not here. First down, Nix looking right sideline area. And it appeared that Sanders might have been actually tipping the ball down to avoid the Tracy Cantaloupe interception.
This was a good defensive play by Sanders because he's out of position. The ball is underthrown. And watch him get in there and just kind of tap the ball away. He's out of position. Watch his right hand or left hand. There, just tip the ball away. That's a good defensive play by the wide receiver.
Tracy's 5'10". Frank is 6'2". Patrick Nix under 50% for the day. Well under 100 yards still. There's a draw play. And a big hole for Stephen Davis. They never did tackle him. Out of bounds at the Auburn bench, 44-yard line. Way beyond first down yardage as he picks up 20.
Watch the explosion once he sees the hole right there in the middle. Good up back block there by Joe Frazier, and now he's off to the races down the sideline. You have to like that play if you're Auburn because it finally gets them some offense going.
Davis, 12th carry of the day, and he's up to 81 yards. He averages 99, and look at that average. More than a yard better than his 5.5 coming in. First down at the 45. And another big hole. Inside the 40. A 15-yard gain on that one. And then quickly he's up to 96 yards on the day.
What a tackle he made Mark Smith miss. Mark Smith came up there, and what happened is Davis got kind of down in a little ball, and he just bounced off him. Looked like a ping pong ball bouncing off a paddle. Watch this when Davis makes the cut. Now, right there, he sees the hole back inside. You see him kind of just bounce off him. Again, good running, under control, good acceleration in the hole, and great vision by Davis.
First down Tigers at the Razorback 39. They call 48 again, but it doesn't work. Marcus Adair was there, and that's his 9th tackle for a loss this year.
Boy, Adair really got penetration in the backfield. It's almost like they left him alone because he was 5 yards in the backfield.
See, a junior out of Memphis. Marcus played his All-American high school days at East High School, and he's one of the top sack men in Arkansas history. And a big play for Danny Ford right there. 2nd and 15, just when Auburn was starting to grab control.
And now it goes to a pass situation. He has to go from shotgun. Just changes the entire play selection.
Rolling a little bit left, pumping up the middle. Man open! Sanders! Touchdown! Sanders. That's career catch number 100, and it gets Auburn 6 points. Point after from Hawkins. Auburn leads it 10-7.
Just an incredible play there by Nix.
Well, the tackle for loss set up the passing situation. Sanders gone. We're back for a word after this from your local stations.
Let our customers do the talking.
We were looking for a new car. We've shopped here before.
Well, hasn't the atmosphere changed here quite a bit as Auburn gets the 44-yard touchdown pass and takes the lead. They go a minute and a half, 3/4 of the field in only 5 plays. Frank Sanders' 5th touchdown catch of the year, 5th catch of the day, 100th of his career. On the near side, Mike Higgins on the kickoff return. Bounces off a teammate, then off a Tiger, avoids a tackle, and he'll have to run quite a bit to get to the 23-yard line. And we have to tell you, in the interest of providing you with all the details of this game, that Madre Hill and Mike Higgins sort of went to the wrong end of the field when they lined up for that kickoff return, and the Auburn fans let them hear it big time when they had to run all the way down to the other end.
Did they ever? What a play there by Sanders and Nix. Nix fake pumped on that ball, and I think that's what held the 2 safeties in the middle, but Sanders was wide open on that 44-yard touchdown.
Barry Lunny and his Razorbacks out of the eye. Play action, runs out of time, gets rid of it, and it's caught by Oscar Malone. And that'll be the longest developing pass play for 4 yards or 5 you'll ever see.
That was about an 8-second pass pattern. And you see Lunny saying, hey, you got to turn around and help me when I'm under that pressure.
Oscar Malone catching his 9th pass of the year.
Watch the time he has. Good coverage by the secondary. Nobody to throw. You see he comes off his primary receiver, goes to a secondary one. Now he's got to bail out. Again, he's looking downfield. Good vision, but again, nobody open.
On 2nd and 5, the fullback, Calvin. And as Marcellus Mostella hits him from behind, he gets beyond the first down marker. Jason Miska was actually the first man to get him, but then Mostella, pursuing, gave him that extra push.
Now you're going to see a bounce by Auburn's defense. The offense has scored. They've taken control of this football game, 10-7. Now they got a little bit more bounce about them. You'll see them react a little bit better to the football. If you're on the Arkansas side of the football, you want your offense to come out and move the football, get first downs.
Wide receivers to the right, tight end to the left. Lunny options, fullback again. Carlton Calvin wrapped up, and he and Jason Miska are getting to know each other very well because of option 1 now, the way it's developing offensively for the Razorbacks, and Miska has his 5th tackle of the day.
See, each one of those segments of that option set up the other one. You start with the fullback. You run the fullback in there. If it draws the linebackers, then you pull the ball out, go down. You've got the quarterback option to run or toss. But you've got to have the fullback established first.
7 minutes to go, 3rd quarter, 2nd down and 7. Lunny looking quickly, right side, J.J. Metters. Good tackle. Wrapping him up from behind was Del McGee. And where they mark it will make the difference of whether it's a first down or not. It'll be very close, and it appears to be just a little short, maybe the length of a ball or 2.
Well, let me ask you a real brainer here. Do you give it to the fullback?
Yeah.
In this situation, you sure do.
I don't see why not. Unless Barry Lunny wants to keep the ball and follow Carlton Calvin. 3rd down and a yard. Less than a yard, really. Lunny will follow his right guard, Pat Baker. Now, we mentioned earlier today that when the Razorbacks run successfully, it's usually to the right side. Earl Scott, the junior center. Pat Baker, the outstanding senior right guard, and Burl Mitchell, the junior right tackle.
And this is line surge. It's the big men, the hogs, as they call them up front. This is just big man on big man. Just drive them off the ball. Let the quarterback try to find that little seam to squirt through and pick up that 1 or 2 yards needed for the first down, and they were able to do it.
Clock under 6 minutes in the 3rd quarter. 10-7 Auburn. Option one, fullback. And it took a cornerback, Chris Schelling, to knock down Carlton Calvin.
I don't think they've stopped Calvin all day. I don't know how many yards he has, but he has just been incredible running that ball on that first down play.
He's got 60 yards now. Came in with 72 on the entire season. So through 7 ball games, he was averaging about 3.5 carries per game and about 10 yards per game.
And Bob, if my math is right, that means he's averaging over 7 yards a carry.
I'll tell you, Penn State guys amaze me.
I got that high math.
2nd and 4. Money to the fullback again. And again, Jason Miska tackling Carlton Calvin.
Now you set it up. You run your fullback 3 times in a row up there. You ran him on the 3rd down situations before. Now you can come up there. You've got, again, 3rd down, 1 or 2 yards to go. Now's the time when you might want to fake it into that fullback, bring it back out, and toss it to your back or use the quarterback option run.
Tight end Kevin Heil has checked in. So they give us a 2 tight end look. A couple of wide receivers out to the left. Lunny to Calvin, and he squirts under Willie Whitehead to get the first down.
I think the crowd was all saying, Calvin's going to get it. Calvin's going to get it. And he did.
Well, Carlton had only run for 350 yards in 3 years, or rather last year, after really not playing much as a freshman, a sophomore. And he's having a career day here because Auburn came in for this game not preparing at all for the fullback to carry on the option. Now the clock is running down to 4 minutes to go, 3rd quarter in a 3-point game.
Here they come with a blitz.
Miska looking to come, Robinson, but then he stops, and Lunny finds Higgins, and he's inside the 5.
What great concentration by Higgins on that ball, Bob. He looked the ball all the way in. The defensive back flashed in front of him, and he still was able to catch the football. Just a great look downfield. And you got to credit the offensive line. See the blitz up in the middle? You see Miska come flying up in there? They picked them all up. Look at the time that Lunny had back there.
Great throw.
Yeah, you see the concentration. Look the ball in. Now don't get caught from behind.
And then Schelling still had the speed to prevent the touchdown. 1st and goal for the Razorbacks after 3.
And listen to that crowd in the end zone. I think that may be Arkansas down that end zone.
Calvin and Malone behind Barry Lunny. Only one wide receiver. It's Malone, and he crashes into Miska. And he's down near the goal line. Jason Miska with his 7th tackle of the day. Danny Ford wants 6. His kicking game has failed him a couple times today.
Now what you want to do here, this is just smash mouth football. Big man on big man. We talked about the tendency that Arkansas has to run to the right. Well, you don't change anything up in this situation. You run to where your strength is. It's just straight ahead, big man on big man football.
Baker and Mitchell, the offensive lineman to the right. Lunny to go it himself. Evidently, he didn't get in.
All the Arkansas players are all saying touchdown, and the official comes in with his hand and he points to the spot. It's awfully close. It's inside the 1 yard line. It can't be 6 inches from the goal line. There's Danny Ford trying to circle in, just trying to say, hey, listen, look at me. Here's the play we're going to run.
Look at that drive so far. Almost 6 minutes. Almost a dozen plays. Barry Lunny's thrown the ball well when given the opportunity. 3rd down, inside the 1. Lunny again tries to go over the top. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Well, I never like quarterback sneaks in that situation, especially when you have a fullback like that. But a good play by Lunny. As he lunged out with the football, he actually broke the plane of the goal line with the ball by holding it out in front of him.
Barry Lunny with his first rushing touchdown of the season.
No fooling here. See him hold the ball out, trying to break the plane of the end zone. And he did. He could have fumbled the ball very easily there. He did on the tail end of it, but not before he scored.
Extra point attempt for Lance Ellison. Oh, that was ugly, but it got through. Oh, baby. Danny Ford says we are not kicking the ball well. But in the third quarter, 2:02 left, the Razorbacks lunge and take the lead. Brought to you in part by Hardee's, your tailgating headquarters and a proud sponsor of the SEC. Upset brewing, 2:02. But there's a lot of brewing to do. A lot of football yet to be played. It's raining now as some weather has come in from the north at the back of Lance Ellison. And he powers another one. And this one is way out of here. Into the hedges.
Bob, you talked about that wind. That wind is a factor in this third quarter because it's been in the face of Auburn the entire time. In the fourth quarter, they'll have the wind at their back.
Barry Lunny, first rushing touchdown of the year, as they go a dozen times for 74 yards and eat up almost 7 minutes. A very impressive Arkansas drive.
Well, when you talk about what a coach, it was almost like he's a prophet. He said, we have got to control the football. We've got to run a lot of time off the clock. We can't give Auburn opportunities, and they have done that the entire 3 quarters of the game.
Patrick Nix, 7 of 15 for 133 yards. And a pitch to Stephen Davis. They collapsed on him in pretty good fashion. Waylon Wishon out there at defensive end was one of the guys sandwiching him in. And he plays next to Junior Sully, who will get an assist on the play. And getting up slowly was Vincent Bradford, who's made some pretty big plays for the Razorbacks today. 1 touchdown, 1 interception for Nix as Bradford shakes it off. Straps it on, and he's ready again on 2nd and 8. Play action with a deep drop. And to the tight end, Andy Fuller. He rambles to the 40. The 6'3", 250 junior out of Huntsville goes 18 yards, and that's his 11th catch of the year.
Well, this is a good crossing pattern from right to left. Comes off the line now. Just get in the seam between the secondary. See him at the top of your screen. Ball thrown right to him now. Don't drop it. Keeping that outside hand. But, Bob, anytime you've got a team that's won 18 games like Auburn has, and, I mean, they've had this streak, you've got to face adversity, so they're used to this.
Everybody talks about the game Sanders and Bailey had at Florida. Andy Fuller, 7 catches, 115 yards. I think they utilized the tight end pretty well that day. Stephen Davis utilizing some room. He's way into Arkansas territory, and Dean Peavy had to knock him down from behind.
The more I see of him, the more I think he looks like Eric Dickerson. That controlled running doesn't look like he's running really fast, but he's got excellent speed. Those runners that before you look up, he's picked up 10, 12 yards.
Averaging 7 a carry today with his 5th 100-yard game of the year. Here he comes again. And it took Del Delco, the free safety, to reach and push him out of bounds. I mean, when you've got Stephen Davis tackled on consecutive plays by defensive backs, you've got a defensive problem.
Exactly. This doesn't look like it's going to go far, but the linebackers come up inside and get caught. Now there's nothing outside. The only person outside is the corner. And he has to come up and make the tackle on the play. And you see that little red marker, not before he gains 11 yards.
First down at the Arkansas 30.
Bob, I was just going to say, this is Arkansas answering what Auburn answering what Arkansas did. Smart play there by Nix. Come in, check out the snap count, go one time a little bit long, see if you can pick up 5 free yards. Good play call.
Before the ball was snapped, contact by the defense, 5 yards, still first.
1st and 5. Junior Sully came across.
What happens is you get, as a defensive player, you're supposed to look at the football, but you get so used to that ball being snapped like on the second sound.
And Arkansas has called another timeout, evidently, to talk it over defensively.
That is interesting. They know this is a drive they have got to stop. They've got to hold them to a field goal.
You know, and the wind could be a factor here. I guess maybe Danny Ford wants the wind in the face of Auburn.
I think that's a
for
good
just
call.
a little bit longer.
I think that's an interesting thing. He knows that the wind's been blowing hard the fourth quarter. Auburn's going to have the wind at their back. If they let the clock run out, hey, they'll have the wind at their back. So he calls timeout and uses that wind.
The problem is, coming up, it's 1st down and 5. So odds are by the time Auburn would be ready to kick a field goal, they would be going toward the other end.
Well, it's interesting that when he called that timeout, he brought the entire defensive unit all the way over to the sideline. Hey, there's an interesting name in Auburn history, isn't it?
Yep, the young man, Pat Sullivan, who's a holder for now. He's officially listed as a wide receiver.
Now, his dad was number 7, wasn't he?
Yes, sir. Pat Sullivan. Most of the records here. Patrick Nix equaled a record of his with back-to-back 300-yard games. Sullivan had done that against Georgia and Bama 24 years ago. Here go the Tigers. Whoa, what a stick. Don Bray.
Boy, that's a decleater.
Joe Frazier felt like you ran into a boxing and a roundhouse punch right there. As Don Bray, the junior out of Georgia, Carrollton, really popped it.
You call this a decleater because both the cleats come up. You see how, bam, he just goes back down. Bray just stepped right up in the hole like you're supposed to. Changes that. Now it's 2nd down, about 3.5 yards to go. Does Nix go for the 1st down or go for the home run?
Clock will be about 10 seconds when this play takes place. And Davis tripped up from behind.
That's going to be close. He had to make the 20-yard line.
Dean Peavy on the tackle. And the 3rd quarter comes to a close. Arkansas leads 14-10, but the wind is blowing, and it's the back of the Tigers with War Eagle looking on. From either Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge or from Starkville, home of the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. Either Bama and the Tigers or the Razorbacks on the road. 12:30 Eastern next Saturday. And here we go to the 4th quarter. Auburn, Alabama. Our Lee Apparel SEC game of the week. Bob Carpenter, Dave Rowe, and Bob Kessling on the sidelines on a rainy, cool afternoon. 1st down for the Tigers at the Arkansas 20. Davis, the workhorse of this drive. And he's inside the 10 for another 1st down. And our Lee Apparel game summary after 3 quarters of play shows some teams that are starting to move the football here in the 2nd half. Auburn approaching 300 yards in total offense. Arkansas up over 220. A lot of balance out there today.
Very much so. Run pass, both of them balanced. But boy, doesn't this Auburn team love that 4-down red zone inside the 20. They have scored almost every time.
Davis, an equal opportunity rusher today. He doesn't care where he goes. He's done it everywhere. And he's out of bounds inside the 2. Knocking him out was Mike Nunnerly. He got a good block on the way from his tight end, Andy Fuller, on Stephen Conley that sprung him outside.
Well, when he turns that corner, he gets those shoulders squared up there. He knows how to get yardage. Just have to like that young man. He's really a complete back.
Yeah, this Auburn running attack can bring you to your knees if you're an opposing head coach. Danny Ford looking for a miracle here as Davis is approaching 150 yards today. He had 158 at Ole Miss earlier this year.
And Auburn just does not make mistakes down in this territory.
2nd and goal from the 1. Pitch to Davis. Straight ahead. Touchdown, Auburn. He was unstoppable on that drive.
And Bob, as I looked at Danny Ford on the sideline, it was almost as if he said, hey, I know we can't stop him inside the 20. But his mind has to go back to 2 missed field goals. They missed 2 opportunities early. The game swings back to Auburn's way.
Matt Hawkins for the point after. Ritzfield to Sullivan, and the kick is perfect. And it's 17-14 Tigers with 14:22 remaining.
We're just looking at 2 outstanding football teams, 2 great offenses. Arkansas drives the length of the field and scores. Auburn comes right back with an 80-yard drive of their own. Give it to Davis right up the middle. Gets those. He almost looks like he's standing up, but he's got a lot of lean to his body. He's great strength. We talked about him being 6'2", about 235 pounds. When he gets running and he gets those shoulders turned up into the line, that's a load to try and bring down.
Crowd of 80,000 or so at Jordan-Hare Stadium today. They've won 11 straight on this field, 13 straight in conference play, and that's pretty incredible for whatever conference you play in. 18 in a row overall, the longest streak in Division I. But they have a ways to go to catch Bama's 2 streaks. Bama went 28 in a row twice in the 90s and the 70s. And there's the scoring drive when they went better than 10 yards a play. I'm not sure anybody will ever do what Oklahoma did back in the 50s when the Sooners won 47 straight from 53 to 57. Mike Higgins will run it out against the wind, and he'll get some positive yardage, but he took a lick in doing it at the 24. Toby Anderson put a pop on it.
Look at Anderson come off the field. Everybody knows who he is. He just got a real dream. That was a real kiss. Interesting, he ran this out from about 4 yards deep. Watch the smack. Right in here. There's Anderson. Bam! Hello.
Toby, one of those fire plugs. 5'8", 216. Listen to this crowd. Lunny quiets them down with a nice throw to J.J. Metters. And he's out of bounds at the 30. That'll be a gain of about 7.
Well, Metters gets this quick out, and he gets that separation from the defensive corner. When he catches the football, he's not far from going a long way. Watch this. Get that separation. Now come back out. Good concentration on the ball. Now turn back up inside, but his foot goes out of bounds right there.
Second down and 3. Lunny taken down behind from Alonzo Etheridge, but there's a flag in the play, and couple, in fact. Etheridge was not fooled by the option. And do you remember the shot of Gary Walker on the defensive line pointing which way Arkansas was going to go?
Before the ball was snapped, just movement by the offensive line, 5 yards, still second down.
As they move the ball back, let's check in with Bob Kessler.
Arkansas's tailback during the last possession, when Auburn had the ball, they were working on him on the sideline. He's had that tight hamstring all day, and so they were working, trying to loosen it up. He's back in the game right now, but if you watch him, he's limping noticeably, and so that's a key thing for Arkansas right now, but he's staying in the game.
Backs are split on second down and 8. Lunny looks right, and he dumps it out there in the area of Oscar Malone. And he took a hit from Mike Pelton. This defense is fired up.
Oh, are they ever fired up? Right now they're saying, hey, let it rain. We don't care now. We've got the lead. They're calling the fourth quarter theirs, and they're coming off the football still as strong. Lunny, not a whole lot of area to go to. You see the pocket breakdown. There's Pelton coming in there, number 50. Gives him a hello and knocks him down.
You call that a hello?
That's the way defensive linemen say hello. Then what you want to do is you want to help them up and say, I'll be right back.
Third down and 8.
Another flag on the play. This was thrown before anybody even moved.
So make it 3rd and 13.
Before the ball was snapped, movement by the offense, 5 yards, still third down.
I think they called Showers on the play, moving. That's appropriate. Showers during the showers here.
Yeah, just a sophomore left tackle. He replaces Arkansas's Chris Oliver over there. The Razorbacks had to replace Chris Oliver, Don Strubing, and Isaac Davis on that front. Plus, Brian Cornish is out for the year with a knee injury, and that did not help at all. Third down and 13. Malone, forget it. Tigers all over him. Anthony Harris Chris Schelling. And Arkansas will have to kick it into the wind.
Boy, what a game Schelling has had. He's got 10 tackles, a sack, and he's just about done everything today. Great defensive play. He has really been outstanding at the cornerback.
Danny Ford needs a good kick here from Matt Waite, who's let one fly today for 54. Greg Smith, the return man, at his own 41. It doesn't go far. To the 43. Into Arkansas territory, where he takes a hit from Vincent Bradford. 32 yards, and that's not the kick Danny Ford and the Razorbacks were looking for. Auburn on top and with the ball.
9. So when these guys come rushing in,
2 remaining in the football game. Back at Auburn we come. Operating with our Atlanta connection today of Kim Anderson and Steve Johnson, our spotter and stats guy, and our stage manager Kurt Bloom out of Birmingham, voice of the Barons. We got a lot of announcing up in the booth today. Some of it makes some sense even. First down with 13:42 to go, and here's Davis. Look at him skip and hop and dance ahead down to the 46 of Arkansas for about 4 yards. Mark Smith on the tackle.
And you turn around, and that play didn't look like it was going to go anywhere. And all of a sudden, you see Davis picks up 3, 4, 5 yards on the play. You talked about him skipping through. He sees this little seam, and watch him hop through sideways. Right there, just hop through sideways, get those shoulders down, fall forward, picks up 4 yards.
151 yards today for Stephen Davis. Second down and 6. And that time he was hit right around the line of scrimmage by Willie Johnson, who got some good penetration. And then Trent Knapp, who's playing hurt with an ankle, was there to help out. There's Willie out of Lufkin, Texas, a senior. Arkansas has recruited Texas very well over the years, and they were in the Southwest Conference especially.
Well, I see that big, bright white hair 2 booths over there, Bob. You see that white hair there?
Oh, yeah.
You can't mistake that, can you?
The man with the bright red coat.
Frank Broyle.
Nix. Up the middle. Sanders again. And the ball for a first down to the Arkansas 30, a little bit beyond. 15 yards on that play, and let's check in with Bob.
You talk about the rain coming down. It's been raining most of the second half, but the field actually is in outstanding condition. It hasn't really been pouring down. It's just been like a mist, and this is basically a sand field, so it drains extremely well. So the field won't be a problem, even if it rains harder during the last 12 minutes of this game.
6 catches for 121 yards for Frank Sanders today, and 101 receptions, his Auburn career total. A reverse. Here's Sanders. Great play in the backfield. Stephen Conley. I'm telling you, this guy is a disruptor. He's not even listed as a starter. He's a junior out of Chicago. He's got a lot of sacks, a lot of tackle for losses. He just makes something happen every time he's out there.
Well, he played responsibility. His responsibility is the backside. Look at him avoid the quarterback's block, make the tackle. That's just an outstanding play. You can't play any better than that. Where that reverse usually goes for a long gainer is when the backside containment falls for the fake and runs and doesn't do their responsibility. Conley well coached at that spot.
Second down and 10. Nix, a little toss to Sanders. And he's down to the 23. Mark Smith on the coverage.
That has to be about the 6th or 7th time I've seen that play. Sanders on that little tight end delay, come back across the field, just comes right across the field. Nix just dumps the ball to him. They pick up 5, 6, 7 yards. Puts pressure on the defense. It's 3rd down and 4. They make the offensive changes and they make the defensive changes.
And the disposition of Danny Ford has changed a little bit. He's been pretty relaxed all day, but he knows if he goes down by 2 scores here, he's got a big problem. Davis outside, great blocking, inside the 10, he will score!
up on Carl Kidd, the strong safety. He just leveled him on the outside. Boy, when they get into films, I want to tell you something. There'll be a pat on the back for Frazier. He just leveled Kidd.
Hawkins for the point after. And Auburn by 10. 24-14. A 24-yard pass with 10:24 to go. And now the Razorbacks have their hands full as Auburn looks for 19 straight.
WD brand beef is raised in the...
Knocks him down there. That's one block. And look at Joe Frazier's block out there. He could just dance into the end zone. And a good block by the wide out there. That's Frank Sanders. So there was 3 outstanding blocks on that play.
Joe Frazier smoked him, didn't he?
How many times are you going to use that line?
And Davis has gone for 120 yards just in the second half on the kickoff. Razorbacks with Higgins inside the 5. Angling for the far sideline. And a bit beyond the 20. Ball ending up in the hands of Darrell Riggins, who's an active little guy on special teams. And Arkansas now with time remaining. I mean, they're okay in that respect. 10:16 to go. But look how quickly Auburn went half of the field. 3:18 after that short kick.
And you really have to credit the defense on that because it gave them the ball on that midfield 50-yard line. The defense set up their offense.
We'll see if the Razorbacks come out throwing a bit. Down by 10. Lunny had people clawing at him and pulling at him as he tried to throw the ball ahead for J.J. Metters. Gary Walker, the senior defensive tackle, was the big disruptor.
I didn't think that Lunny really was able to throw the football because Walker's arm was in there. He kind of had to short arm the ball a little bit.
There's Walker, who goes 6'3", 277, a Georgia kid out of Livonia.
Watch the tail end here. You watch his hand come up. See, it almost gets in his way. He kind of has to short arm the ball. Can't really deliver it straight ahead. This crowd come alive.
Lunny option right. Keeping it. Breaks a tackle. And he's out to about the 28. And Alonzo Etheridge is a little mad at himself for letting the quarterback squirt away. Mostella, 47, on the stop eventually. FSU big in the ACC again. Seminoles roll on over Duke. Some thought that game would be a lot closer. I think Nebraska has made a case for who's going to be in the Orange Bowl from the Big 8. And there's an upset brewing as Texas trails, and they're 19th in the nation. Clemson shutting out Wake in the ACC. And the Gamecocks can't get it going at home with the Volunteers today. South Carolina won that game at home 2 years ago. And there's Calvin for a first down. Carlton Calvin having a big day. Keeps running the football. 72 yards all year coming in. And today, he's got 72 to add on.
Yeah, he's doubled his average today because he has just ripped up through there from that fullback spot. That has been open all day long at the tackle spot. The first man on that option. I just keep on giving it to him again and again and again. But unfortunately, Arkansas has got to score. They know they have to score 2 times to get back in this football game.
Lunny with play action. Far sideline. And a good battle over there with Higgins, the intended receiver, and Chris Schelling. I'm starting to wonder when Barry Lunny's going to start throwing the ball away from Chris Schelling.
I tell you right now, Chris Schelling has played as well as a defensive corner can play today. We talked earlier, he had 10 tackles. I don't know how many times. He almost had 2 interceptions on those great recoveries. He's got a sack. He's got everything going for him. He has really played well. If I was a quarterback, I think I'd go away from him. I'd say, hey, let's try the other corner for a little while.
Second down and 10. Clock stopped at the 8:57 mark. Fullback on the carry. No, sir. Gary Walker right there that time. Alonzo Etheridge as well.
Well, you can tell how active these two big defensive tackles are, Pelton and Walker. Pelton had 74 tackles coming into this football game. Walker right behind him with 62 tackles. That means that they don't get knocked down. They get rid of their blocks quickly. They make great movement to the football, and they're always around it. And the air's showing why. They're controlling the middle right now.
Arkansas needs a first down. 3rd and 8. And they've got to get the ball down the field fairly quickly and score. Running, pump fake, left sideline, and not able to control it was Higgins. Had he caught it cleanly on the first touch, he would have been in bounds. The juggle cost him the reception.
The official in great position to make this call because Higgins, as he goes out of bounds, does not have control of the football, as you said, Bob. He bobbled it. Again, watch right here. If he catches it right there, foot would have been in bounds, that would have been it, but the official right there to see the bobble.
That weight to cut it, only 32 yards his last one. Short spiral to the near side, and the ball never got there.
You got to let him catch it.
Fred Smith was hammered by Jesse Cornelius. 33-yard kick, and the ball never got to the return man.
The ball held up, I guess, in the wind. Watch the tackle. That's a little bit early.
It's not a good feeling when you're the offensive guy and the punt hits you in the back.
Contact interference with a receiver against the kicking team. 15 yards, first down.
Next week on our Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week, and we're waiting to find out where we're going. We could be checking out the Crimson Tide at LSU or these Razorbacks in Starkville against the Bulldogs of Jackie Sherrill. Check your local listings. We're on at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central next week on our Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week. That'll be the first weekend of November.
And Bob, you look at what that penalty was. The ball was going to be on about the 29-yard line. They move it out to the 45 and give it back to Davis.
There he goes. First down. Out of bounds inside the Arkansas 40, and he's heading for a 200-yard day.
Well, he has made the corner all day long. One thing that's really impressed me has been the downfield blocking by the wide receivers, plus the upback. The upback in this case is Joe Frazier. The blocks that he has made downfield have just been incredible blocks. They just stick with their men. They don't give them up. They don't just throw their bodies at them. They stay right with them. That's just great coaching.
192 yards for the man who plays behind Frazier, who gets the call. Maybe a yard or two off the left side. Stephen Conley there to meet him. Out of Luther South High School up in Chicago. Had made 8 tackles in 2 years, playing primarily in pass situations. And this year he has become a major force for this stingy Razorback defense. Second down and 10. Tight end, Andy Fuller shifting to the left side. Twin receivers on the right. Pitch to guess who? And a nice tackle fighting off the tight end. Conley again. Let's check in downstairs. Bob Kessling.
Arkansas, of course, now has got its back to the wall. Robert Reed, the young freshman quarterback, has been warming up. Barry Lunny last possession was shaken up a little bit when he kept the ball. He apparently fell on it and knocked the wind out of him. So it looks like Arkansas, when they get the ball, if they get it back, is going to try and change gears a little bit and give the freshman a shot at quarterback.
Out of Northwest Rankin High School, a true freshman from Brandon, Mississippi, coached by David Coates there just a year ago when he was a high school All-American. Third down and 10. Nix, and he's in trouble. Good penetration there by Vincent Bradford, who got him in the backfield, and the backup weak side linebacker with a 7-tackle day.
When you start talking about what ifs in a game like this, this has just been a superb game. It's played by two teams, well coached, well prepared for the game. The weeks off really helped the teams because they had good preparation. Nix really taking control of this game in the second half, though. Every time Arkansas drove the length of the field, Bob, down came Auburn to answer the call.
Well, we talked to Wayne Hall, the Auburn defensive coordinator, Joe Kynes of the Razorbacks the other day, and they both thought that the layoff would mean a slow start for offenses today. And they turned out to know what they were talking about. Defenses dominated first half, offenses now. Auburn will chew up that play clock. 5 yards doesn't matter much when you're punting from this situation, even if you don't have an outstanding punter who leads the league, Terry Daniel.
Well, I think they wanted to get the extra 5 yards so they didn't hurt Daniel's average. He's averaging 49 yards a kick today.
Terry says, don't snap it. Came in with 46.5 the average. You know, but he's not just a bomber. He's dropped a half dozen punts inside the 20-yard line this year as well. Great power, great touch.
This one here, you want to get real high, let your coverage get down there, don't let it roll into the end zone.
And he got it blocked. He had trouble handling the ball, blocked by Philip Hayes.
And what happened, the ball, they took so long to snap the ball that the mist rain went on the ball, and the ball went right between his hands, hit him right in the chest. Watch the ball, right between his hands. The ball was slick. Now he's got, you see 3-4 steps trying to get it. Big turnaround for Arkansas.
And that puts the Razorbacks in position to get back in the game. 5:34 remaining, and they're down by 10. And they will huddle up and get out there in a hurry.
Boy, does that change things around.
The quarterback is Robert Reed. And on the first play, takes a sack. Whitehead was there. Mostella, Miska. 6 sacks by the Tiger defense today, and that gives them 39 on the year.
Well, watch Miska slide along the line here. Slide, slide, slide. Now commit. Comes up, he jumps up in the quarterback's face. Now react again, come back, still goes to the football, makes the tackle. But an interesting call by Arkansas. You've got first down on the 49-yard line. You don't run a rollout option that's going to lose 10 yards.
2nd and 18. Reed 11 of 19 throwing this year. Flushed out of there. He's got good speed. He gets away from Walker, cuts inside, spun around. Miska got him as he crossed into Auburn territory. So there you see some of the added dimension of Robert Reed, who passed for 1,700 yards as a senior last year in Brandon, Mississippi.
Reed's had some opportunities. He's 11 of 19 coming into the game, 58% completions. He's got 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, so he does make good decisions.
And he can run it. That was his 20th rush of the year. He's up around 80 yards this season. But Danny Ford knows the clock is running. 3rd down and 11. Reed with time. Broke 1 tackle, and he maybe got back to the line of scrimmage before they wiped him out.
Boy, you run like that, you're going to open up a new can of quarterbacks here real quick. You can't run straight up into these big guys. Reed's able to avoid a lot of guys, but he's got to learn when to get rid of the football. On this play right here, now he makes a good adjustment. He's looking downfield now. Steps up in the pocket. Don't get those happy feet. Square up, throw the football. But watch when he turns around here. Bam! Ouch.
Scott Stacy laid the lick on.
Now 4th down, you almost have to go in this situation. 3:20 and counting. 4th down, they just have to go for it. Maybe they'll try to draw them offside, but I think Auburn's going to call timeout.
Yes, they will, with 3:14 remaining. Arkansas, when we come back, 4th and 9. If they have any chance to win this football game, they've got to convert. And 14 seconds to go at Jordan-Hare Stadium, Auburn, Alabama. Tigers trying to make it 19 in a row. Danny Ford's team faces 4th down and 9. Do or die for the Hogs. Reed with a drop. Malone out in the pattern. He receives it. Turns. Way short. Auburn has the ball back. And that might just about do it. With 3:05 to go and a 10-point lead. A bunch of plays on that drive, Dave Rowe, that were tremendously slow in developing.
Yeah, very true. That just was not quick offense. Anytime you're running rollouts, you so limit the amount of field that you can throw the football. That's why you like to see those straight drop back passes, because you can look downfield. There's somebody upset.
Stephen Davis. There he goes again. Steve Peavy, the only man who can stop him. He will score. "53 yards, and the route is on."
Bob, what a block again by Frazier. It was incredible. Frazier just leveled Nunnerly. He just ran right over top of him. Anybody, I mean, I hate to say this, but anybody could have carried that ball. Look at the yardage by Stephen Davis. The first person he ought to go up and thank is Joe Frazier and say, what a block.
Hawkins for the point after. And one play after the Razorbacks don't convert. Davis, with help from that man, goes 53 yards, and Auburn leads it 34-14, 31-14. They average 36. They're almost there. Kickoff quickly. And then catching it and quickly out of bounds, Mike Higgins. And the Razorbacks going to be way back there at their own 5-yard line.
What a block by Frazier. Watch Frazier on this play. Davis comes out here, sets up Frazier. You're going to see Frazier run over top of someone. There it is. Let me just level. Now watch Davis shift into gear. Right here. This is the hardest I've seen him run. You can see that end zone. He just starts sprinting in there.
Well, his 245 yards today, not an Auburn record. Curtis Kuykendall against Miami in 1944 had a 307-yard game. Andre Hill getting outside on the near side. And he'll be run out as he crosses the 25-yard line by Del McGee.
What you think of the great running backs here, and the first one comes right to mind, of course, Bo Jackson. And I mean to tell you, Davis has really run for some yards today.
Well, Bo holds the Auburn record for yards gained per game through a season, 162 average in 1985. 113 in his career. Not a bad average there.
No, certainly not. But I wonder if he ran for 245. That's quite a day.
2.5 lengths of the field. And ball carrier at that time, Andre Hill again, the true freshman out of Malvern, Arkansas, who is a 2-time All-American and an Arkansas Player of the Year, playing for David Alpe there.
Well, Bob, didn't you say that was on 25 carries?
27.
27 carries, so it's over 9 yards per carry.
That's a little scary. 2:18 remaining. Auburn will go to 8-0, 6-0 in conference play, and win their 19th straight, unless Arkansas totally shocks them here in the last 2 minutes. Reed to J.J. Metters. There's a flag on the play at the 31-yard line.
That flag is right along the line of scrimmage. Looks like somebody might have lined up in the neutral zone.
Eddie Ford looking defiant now at this point.
Against the defense, the penalty is declined. First down.
Arkansas at Mississippi State next weekend. Auburn has what appears to be a breather as they play East Carolina at home in a non-conference game. And that's for the benefit of our graphics coordinator, Scott Snyder, an ECU alum who's down in the truck providing you with some of our great informational graphics with Carol Van Norman today. Reed flushed out.
Well, have you ever seen a more dedicated ECU fan than him, though? I mean, he supports him regardless of what the score is.
Well, that's what it's all about in college football. You stay with your teams through the up times and the down times. And they had some struggles here in Auburn, but the last 2 years have been outstanding. Arkansas calls a timeout with 1:30 remaining, with Auburn on top 31-14.
Today's Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week has been brought to you by Lee Apparel, maker of regular, relaxed, and easy-fit jeans and casual pants. Lee is the brand that fits. By Hardee's, your tailgating headquarters and a proud sponsor of the Southeastern Conference. By Winn-Dixie, the low-price leader. By the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, the vision to power your dreams. By Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse. Lowe's knows home improvement. And by your local Mazda dealers.
Story of this game, first half defense. It was 7-3 at the half. Second half offense, and Stephen Davis has gone crazy for the Auburn Tigers today. Second down and 10 for the Razorbacks with Reed, their freshman quarterback, hanging in there. And it glances off the hands of James Perry, sophomore out of Houston, who's caught 13 balls this year. But Scott Stacy was pressuring the young quarterback. Well, I wonder who our player of the game from Auburn is today.
Gosh, I can't think. I would vote for Shelling.
Well, you defensive guys would.
Wrong defensive player.
Stephen Davis officially 246 yards, a career high, 3 scores today. And Carlton Calvin, a career day, 78 yards for him, more than doubled his season total today. Reed flushed out, straight ahead, takes a couple of licks and gets to midfield. Depending on where they spotted it, might be 4th and short for the Razorbacks with the clock running down inside 1:10.
Well, will you at least give Chris Shelling honorable mention?
Of course we will.
12 tackles, a sack. I mean, he's been all over the field. A couple of possible interceptions. Played awfully strong in that secondary.
Yeah, this team's got some great DBs. 16 interceptions, 29 other passes broken up coming into this game. And they've done it at very dramatic times this year. Like the 4th quarter here against LSU. All day long against Terry Dean in Florida.
I thought that was really interesting. You said that's the loudest game you've ever been at.
When we were here for LSU, it was. That 4th quarter was unbelievable. And that was their springboard for what they've done in the 6 weeks since. That was week 3. Here we are in week 9, and they're still unbeaten. Reed out to the left. Nice catch there. J.J. Metters having his usual solid day.
Now you're going to run hurry-up offense, no huddle, up on the line, trying to get a score. And just realize Arkansas played an excellent football game. I mean, you lose 31-14, you say, gosh, that's a blowout. But Arkansas played a great football game.
Reed will wing it to the far sideline, and that one is too tall for Mike Higgins.
Reed's jersey is already dirty. He's been dumped 4 or 5 times. They've been right on top of him. The back of his jersey is just red with paint. And you got to get up and dust yourself off.
There have been a few bloody victims left in the wake of this Auburn defense this year. 3rd down and 1 at the 40 with 23 seconds remaining. Reed, good arm strength as he really sings one to J.J. Metters. Shelling with his 11th tackle today, but did you see the pace on that throw?
That was a rope going to him. I think one thing that's really impressed me about Auburn has been the fact that they never panicked. They were down. They didn't play a good half of football. You heard when Terry Bowden came talking to Bob Kessling about the half. He said, hey, we had bad field position. We made poor mistakes. We just made some turnovers. But they never panicked. They just stayed with their offense. They know they're good. They know Stephen Davis is going to run the football. They relied on Nix, and you can see Bowden there telling them, again, you just got to hang in there, stay with your game plan. I'll accept some of the responsibility, but it's up to you guys.
One other thing, Dave, with Colorado losing to Nebraska today. Auburn expects to move up a spot in the poll. We'll see if Nebraska or Penn State's number 1, but Auburn should be number 3 after this win. Reed taken down, and that should do it. As Auburn comes up big offensively with Stephen Davis in the second half, and Bowden has won 19 in a row now. 8-0 this year as they beat Arkansas 31-14. We're back to Jordan Hare after a word from your local SEC stations.
You just passed a BMW 540i, and you
did not panic, came back big second half, and Dave Rowe, they didn't need the dramatics today that they've had so often in the fourth quarter of this streak.
I think you hit the nail on the head. They really showed great poise, just like their head coach. He was in total control. They waited for their offense to start striking. It ran on all cylinders in this second half, and they played great football.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow. Check your local listings where we're headed for next week. Our game of the week in the SEC will be either the Crimson Tide at LSU or the Razorbacks on the road at Mississippi State. 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. The story of this day, the Auburn defense, and also Stephen Davis, who ran for 246 yards. Jefferson Pilot Sports personnel outfitted by Lee Apparel, the brand that fits. And you've been watching Jefferson Pilot Sports exclusive coverage of SEC football. For Bob Kessling and Dave Rowe, Bob Carpenter, War Eagle. So long from Auburn.